Once we get in. Yeah.
Hi and welcome along to the Don Robbie channel. We are here for the big race today, brought to you today by Manscaped. Don't forget, use the code Don Robbie. You can get up to 20% off today. You can get the Lawnmower 4.0. You can get all your male grooming. And of course, it is a great present to give to him for Christmas. So the link is in the description. Get involved with that today. Manscaped sponsoring this F1 race day. You would have noticed that we're not in the studio. Unfortunately, I have succumbed to, well, you know what, I'm feeling fine, but the COVID thing is back again, you know what I mean? And I'm in isolation at the moment, but feeling fine. But obviously, for obvious reasons, we couldn't come together in the studio to do this watch along, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it remote. We got Matt. He's also joined by Ed there. We are here and we are ready for probably the biggest F1 race in a generation. Verstappen going head-to-head with Lewis Hamilton. I know people always say to me, oh, what about all the other drivers? Listen, today it's all about one of these two. Whoever comes out on top wins the title this year. It's all come down to this last race. And I'm pleased to be joined today by, as I said, my co-presenter, who's been here right along, and we've been brilliant with Matt. And Matt, tell us about who's with you as well.
Come on. Well, known to many as Best Dressed Eddie. Ed, we grew up together. He has come all the way down from York for this one where, as you said, Robbie, we did have a big season finale planned for the people. We were going to have an audience of Lewis fans and Max fans. And yeah, it was going to be wicked. Shame we can't go ahead, but safety first. Big props to you, actually, for taking the lead on that, Robbie, and saying, no, let's just do it on the stream. And I think the best thing, you know, sometimes we maybe we overthink things, and the entertainment is going to be provided by these guys on track today. It's going to be epic.
Ed, welcome along.
Come on.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And who you rooting for today?
Oh, thanks for having us, Robbie. I am nervous. I've got to go with my boy Lewis. I think we're all in the camp there. There's so many things going on. So many things could happen. I said yesterday during quali, I think something major is going to happen. There's going to be some DNFs. There's going to be something. But we want to go with our boy Lewis, don't we? We want to back him. If Max gets it, it's fair enough. But we don't want to see that. We're going with our boy Lewis.
Well, listen. They're at the. I'm watching it on the TV at the moment. They're pit side, shall I say? Stormzy. They're currently interviewing at the moment. They just had Usain Bolt as well. All the celebrities are out there. Chris Gale, the cricketer, was there a minute ago. They're talking to
all the celebrities, Robbie. You're here somehow. How are you not there?
I wish I was there. Trust me, it looks brilliant. But Matt, talk us through yesterday in qualifying, because on pole for the race, of course, a very vital pole is Max Verstappen, and you would say he's the favorite at the moment, or would you? I mean, talk us through what's going on.
Listen, I feel I had some confidence before this season in being able to call tyre strategy up front. So typically, I would look at today and say, you know something, Max looked quick yesterday, but he's starting on the soft tyre on pole, as is Lando Norris down in third place. With Lewis starting on a medium tyre, it should mean Lewis can do a longer first stint, possibly even make this a one-stop race, whereas Max most certainly is going to have to pit within the first 15 laps, make it a two-stop. So already you would say that maybe Lewis has an advantage. But Robbie, with the way this season has gone, with some of the fortune that maybe Max saw last week, you know, one red flag and all of a sudden he changes his tyres and, you know, it's a different story. But here's what we've got to say right here, right now, Robbie. After yesterday, my confidence in Lewis being able to come back and do it has dwindled. Max Verstappen performed out of his fucking skin in qualifying yesterday. Incredible lap from him. He's 0.4 seconds quicker than Lewis Hamilton on what is supposed to be a Mercedes track. So I think with all the track differences, with the major corner changes, it looks like Red Bull with the big sweeping U-shaped corners have been the big winners there. This absolutely is Max's to lose today. Let's not forget, if they're still level on points at the end, you know, Max already has got the goal difference, the most race wins. So yeah, Max is very much in the driving seat, and I think Lewis has got a lot of work to do today to get in front of that Red Bull.
Talk us through, just before we get to Ed, talk us through this whole thing with the tires. So because Max Verstappen's going to be starting on soft tires,
Yeah.
And Lewis Hamilton's going to be starting on the medium. The only reason Max is starting on those soft tires is because he sort of wore out his soft tires. I mean, talk us through the whole thing.
Yeah, so basically, it was looking like everybody was going to run the medium tire. So the way that tire selection for the start of the race works, and a lot of people won't know this, so let's just run them through it, is you don't just get to start on any tire. The advantage that they give the bottom 10 is have a brand new set of whatever tire you want. You've got tire choice, free selection. However, if you qualify in the top 10, then whatever tire you set your fastest lap on in the second section of qualifying, Q2, is the tire you start the race on. So at the beginning of Q2, Robbie, absolutely everybody ran out there on that medium tire to say, okay, medium's going to be the one. It gives us the best possible start. And strategically, that's what made Mercedes stuck with. What happened with Max Verstappen is while he did his fastest lap, he locked up his medium tire. And when you lock up, it quite literally means that instead of the tire rotating continually, you stop the tire and you skid across the gravel. That can cause what they call a flat spot, which would be a major issue. You do not want a flat-spotted tyre, particularly at the start of a race where the tyres are a little cooler. Red Bull then had a choice to make and saying, unfortunately now, we're not going to start on that flat spot. That would put us at a disadvantage. So we're going to switch our full tyre strategy. We're going to start on the soft tyre and we're just going to go for it. And that's exactly what they've done. Meanwhile, Mercedes were the only ones. Once Red Bull took the lead with Max, McLaren and the others followed on the soft tyre. Mercedes said, no, we're confident that the medium tyre is the right strategy. Did you see, though, Lewis's comments last night in the, he did a little post interview. He feels that there was a little trickery involved with Red Bull there. And he actually went as far as to say it's almost impossible to flat spot your tyres on turn one. I think Max has done that deliberately. I think they were throwing us off and jumping on the soft tyre. Which I just thought was a really interesting comment from Lewis.
And Ed, the temperature at trackside does make a difference in these sort of races.
Oh, massively. You know, these guys are used to this type of thing, but it comes down to it so much. And with so much on the line, and, you know, could something like that be a factor today? We're going to have to wait and see. There's so many things in the air, Robbie, isn't there? There's a lot of balls in the air for these guys to juggle around. And I'm excited. I don't know which way it's going. I want to go, Lewis. I'm just nervous, Robbie. I'm just nervous.
Yeah, well nervous. Well nervous. They're showing on the TV at the moment. That's Raikkonen there. Of course, it's his last race today, Matt. He's there.
Yeah, and there's a reason why we're wearing all black, Robbie. You've never seen me wear all black before, and that is, of course, for the fallen Kimi Raikkonen. What a shame that his qualifying yesterday finished down in 18th. Would have been great to see him with one last little bit of pace, but what a legend of the sport. Most Grand Prix starts of all time. He's in the top 5, maybe even top 4 most podiums of all time in Formula One. This truly is a great of the sport, and it's his final day today. It's almost a shame that the spotlight has taken off that slightly and really is all about Max and Lewis today, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. And also another person who's going to be racing his last race, not for in Formula One, but just for the team that he's currently at, is George Russell. Russell, of course, his last race for Williams.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a few last races today. Russell will leave Williams today. Bottas will leave Mercedes today. Antonio Giovinazzi, who's Kimi Raikkonen's teammate, I mean, he's not got a seat next year in Formula One. I think I can be fairly confident in saying it's his last ever Formula One race. I can't see him coming back, but yeah, it's there's a lot of switch arounds, a lot of lasts for people today. But as we say, the spotlight well and truly is going to be on this Max and Lewis fight.
Yeah, it is going to be, and you know, it's building and it's building, and you know what I like about when you're watching these type of events, it's like when you watch boxing, and you've got this big build up and so many opinions, and everyone's one half saying this or one half saying that. What I love about these sort of things is that very shortly all the talking's going to finish, and it's going to come down to the action.
Yeah, it really is.
We're going to see who is going to win this. How does it play out, do you think, for Verstappen? What's his strategy? Just get off as quickly as you can, try and get as far ahead on those soft tires as possible.
Yeah, so let's be sensible about Abu Dhabi and a little bit of the history here. In previous years, pole sitters win this race. And the reason that happens is because they're able to get a good start, get off out into the lead, and then quite simply with just the way that the track has been laid out over the years, they've just got that lead and they're running away with it. Max Verstappen today, expect him on that soft tyre to pull well away from Lewis going into the first few corners. And I would say he'll be looking to probably stop somewhere between lap 10 and lap 15 on the soft tyre. He'll be hoping by then to have a good 3, 4, 5 second lead over Lewis Hamilton. Now, then the big question is going to become, what does Lewis do with his tyres? Because Lewis here can effectively perform a big undercut. Lewis should be able to get to around lap 20 to 25 on that medium tyre and be able to do some bits there. So really, this is going to be, you couldn't bill it more exciting. I said to our guys yesterday, and me and Ed discussed this actually a little bit, if you were to write a script of a Formula One season, this is how you would write it. All the way down to level on points at the end, right the way down to Max on pole with Lewis in second, and then guess what? They're on different tyres. So either way, we're going to have to see somebody do something in order to win this championship. Lewis is either going to have to really manage tyres and go long, or he's going to try and dive down the inside right at the start of this Grand Prix. Ed, we discussed it a little bit yesterday. How do you feel the start's going to go between a Lewis and a Max? Do you think that Lewis is going to be thinking, right, I've got to get ahead early, or do you think he'll bide his time?
I think he's going to bide his time. I think Max is going to shoot out, as we said, on the softs. He's going to try to get as much of an advantage as possible. And I think Lewis just needs to sit in there. The guys in the garage just need to manage his strategy, keep him within touching distance. He can't obviously let him get out 10, 15 seconds, but if he keeps him within 2 or 3 seconds, see what happens. Bit of pressure on Max, not being in this position before. Lewis has been there. He's been there and done it. I think Lewis has just got to bide his time, just sit him behind and wait for it to unfold for him.
Yeah.
Some great support for Max Verstappen. You can see all those orange tops
Massively
in the crowd. No doubt our friend Kuhn is right up for this one today. You know, I mean, you said to me that it's a holiday over there in the Netherlands as well, so that makes it even.
It does. It's like the Dutch Thanksgiving or something over there. So it's a big family day. I'm sure that gathered all around the Netherlands, they've really been swept up in Verstappen mania for a long, long time, years now. You know, I like to imagine they're probably all sat around the TV up and down the country, hoping that he brings it home today. And actually, it's great to see that kind of support for him growing around the world. Typically, Lewis Hamilton's been the guy, I guess, that's had that global fan base, and particularly in the Middle East, they really are big Lewis fans out there. But yesterday, there was a bit of booing heard for Lewis. You know, the Orange Army seemed to be the louder crowd out there.
Yeah, the Orange Army is massive out there. And do you know what? I mean, listen, if Verstappen does win it, it's still a big win for the sport because, you know, Lewis has been winning it year in, year out. And you know, this guy's just burst onto the scene and he's been unbelievable, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, let's have no doubt about it. The achievement that this would be for Max Verstappen to come through and disrupt Formula One like he has done and come out with a world championship would be phenomenal. And you know what? Whether you're a Lewis fan or a Max fan, it is undeniable. Max Verstappen deserves to win this title. If he wins this race today, that's a deserved title. I think we can say the same for Lewis Hamilton. The very fact that he's got his car all the way here. And listen, you coming at me in the comments, but my feeling after watching this season is I do think that the Red Bull is the stronger car. So I would say that for Lewis to do this with a weaker car than Max Verstappen, to claw back those points, to, you know, if you want to talk about, and I get that stat, Robbie, based off of pole positions that we talked about yesterday. Ed, do you remember the stat?
Yeah, 10 for Max, 5 for Lewis.
I mean, Max Verstappen, 10 poles. Lewis Hamilton, only 5 pole positions. So, you know, that for me shows that Red Bull has got the pace. He's been dominant this year as Max. It'd be an unbelievable achievement for him to come through and win it today.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable. And it also would be unbelievable for Red Bull. You know, where I live now is just around the corner to their factory. And I see their guys every day. And it would be huge. I mean, it's a huge place, but it'd be huge for that team, wouldn't it? For Red Bull to break the Mercedes dominance and to win, it'd be absolutely huge for Red Bull.
Absolutely massive. You know, they started the last decade with a period of their own dominance. You know, 4 titles with Sebastian Vettel and Christian Horner back to back. And then since then, it's been all about Mercedes. So for Red Bull to start a new decade, 10 years on, with another, dominant display really from Max Verstappen. Let's not forget, this season has not been really about the car. It's not really been about the team. Bottas and Perez have not lived up to the mark as a second driver this year. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have dragged their team kicking and screaming all the way to the final race of the season. And when we talk about how close it's been, even if Max Verstappen wins this race today and claims the world title, it looks like Mercedes would still be constructors champions. It's been a long time since we've seen a different driver and a different team, winning in the same year.
I love that comment there. This guy says, Keith D. And by the way, keep those comments coming in. They've been coming in on Rapid. He says, hi, guys. Feel sorry for me. Living in Holland, all I'm hearing is Max, 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 and more effing Max. He says, come on, Lewis. I'll tell you what, if Lewis was to win today, Keith, I'll keep your head down, mate. I'll keep your head down. Trust me. Oh, we've lost your camera a bit there. Yeah. So that will come back online in a minute for you guys, Matt. So whilst we're doing that, let me get through some more comments there. Louis says, watch Lando win the race after all. Lando Norris as well. Don't write off Lando Norris. He's up there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Any chance to spoil the party, Louis? Imagine that, right? Imagine we're all going, oh, is it going to be Lewis? Is it going to be Max? And then Lando Norris goes and wins the race. That would be funny.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, and then they make it, like when you were a kid playing football, on the backfield, it was like winner takes all. Imagine he wins it and becomes world champion after all this. I think for me, even if Lando did win it, I wouldn't be mad at that, Robbie. I don't mind Lando winning the race and Lewis coming in second, Max third. I'm happy with that.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great race. So it's like, what an amazing season that even on the last race you can't call it. It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, Robbie, it's awesome. It's awesome. And you know something, actually, we can point, we talked briefly there about Bottas and Perez and perhaps how they're not up there supporting, but maybe that makes it more exciting. The fact that it isn't Max up there on his own versus the two Mercedes or Lewis up there on his own versus the two Red Bulls, the fact that Lando Norris is right up in the midst of it just means that hopefully we're going to get wheel-to-wheel action from Max and Lewis, which is, I want to see them, Robbie, as nervy as it will be, go wheel-to-wheel and make an overtake on track. I might eat my own words later, but I don't want the title to be decided in the pit lane with an undercut or an overcut. I want to see them make an overtake on track.
I can see that happening, this undercut and overcut thing. I can see strategy really coming into place. I mean, this guy here, Sai, says, Don Robert, who has the better race strategy? We don't know.
Really tough to call.
That's the thing.
Yeah, better's so tough to call. Listen, I would
say you're not going to know. You're not going to know until the end of the race who had the best strategy.
We're not. I would say my early inclination, like I said, on any other season, I would say Mercedes know what they're doing here. The medium tire is the one that seemingly everybody wanted to start on originally until Max flat spotted. I would say that Mercedes are going to be very happy starting in second place on the medium tire. If it was the other way round, if it was Max Verstappen on pole with a medium, Lewis in second on a soft, I would say this is 70-30 Max's race to lose, yeah? I think the very fact that Lewis, the guy behind, as the guy with the longer serving tyre, without any craziness going on, it should be a better strategy for Mercedes.
DJ Ashby says, I just hope that Lewis and Max don't take each other out and that Max just wins the race on wins throughout the year. Of course, he's won more races. Who's been the better driver this year? You two.
Ed.
Oh, I like Fernando Alonso, Robbie, but he's not doing very well in the championship. I think Lewis has been the better driver this year. I think Lewis has been the better driver. Again,
why is that? Why is that? Because Max has had more poles.
He has more poles, but he's had 10 more poles.
He's had a better car, Robbie.
Yeah, he's had 10 poles, but they're exactly joint on points coming into this. So that, to me, shown that Lewis has had to do some bits to get himself from second or third or wherever it is being to get ahead of Max. There's been obviously some factors in there that have come into play, but I think, especially towards the back end of the season, and Lewis clawed back. I think it was like nearly 30 points he clawed back on Max. I think he's just, the second half of the year, I think he's just outdriven Max.
If we
about
talk
you,
about this, Robbie, you remember, in fact, your kid plays football now. I was going to say you remember playing football as a kid, but with your lad, they have a little presentation at the end of the season. They've got the little trophies that's like most improved and players player and all of that. And, you know, if we were to award a best drive of the season award, it would have to go to Lewis Hamilton for that performance in Brazil. You know, and that for me got to play a massive part in going, well, who's really been the top sort of driver? I mean, it is between the two of them. They've been sensational. I would argue that Max has possibly had the better car, which has given him that little edge. But the Max fans are going to go mad at me in the stream right now.
Do you know the really funny thing? I was watching one of these programs on F1 the other day, and they was kind of doing an analysis on the two drivers, and they were saying that even though Max he's ultra aggressive. And we all know there's been a couple of times where, you know, people have said he's tried to take Lewis out and stuff like that. And they were saying that actually, had he in a couple of races just calmed down a bit and in certain races just say, you know what, I ain't going to win this one, I'm going to settle for second, he'd be the champion now. But he's been so aggressive that he's lost points when he didn't necessarily need to.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think there's a few sort of moments of that, you know, where people have felt like, well, actually, you know, there's just been a lot of misfortune gone Max's way. If we think back to Baku earlier on in the season, Max had a tyre failure that Pirelli had to come out and publicly apologise for because Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen's tyre inexplicably exploded, crashing them out of the race. Max Verstappen was in the lead of that race. He got pole position, I believe, that race. Perez went on to win it, which shows you that Red Bull were having a really good weekend. So, you know, if we think back to just that incident alone, Max Verstappen was world champion a little while ago. So there's certainly been some of those kind of key moments, but I think the same is to say for both the guys. You know, Lewis has also had misfortune in that same race. Lewis accidentally pressed the magic button, which slid him way out of the points, and it looked like he might take the race win. So
Andrew Mensah says, here's a conundrum. Lewis wins, he gets the 8th title and walks away from the sport. Max wins and Lewis stays on to try and get that unprecedented achievement. Interesting. Do you think if Lewis was to win and get that 8th win, do you think he's not going to walk away, is he?
I don't think he will. I sort of take him at his word. He only signed a 1-year deal for this year. And so this time last year, when I don't know if you remember, he didn't actually sign that deal until like February, way into like, you know, the preseason testing. And I was thinking, okay, 1 year's interesting. He's obviously looking at the rule change and thinking, get me an 8th and get me out. You know, I'll retire on top. But for him then in July to announce a 2-year extension, he's going to race in 22 and 23. It tells me that he wants to be part of the building of the future Mercedes. He wants to bring George Russell under his wing and, you know, do everything that he can do there. So no, I personally don't see Lewis Hamilton retiring if he wins. But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
I said
I'm happy for it.
When I was on the show a couple weeks ago, I did say that, Robbie. I was in a bit of the camp of, you know, Lewis has got a lot of interest outside of Formula One with you know, a lot of other things that he does. Does he get his 8th, become the greatest of all time, and just step away? I could see it happening. He seems that type of character who sort of, I've never met the bloke, but he seems very hot and cold. He you know, seems to change his mind pretty quickly. And if he gets his 8th, he could just, you know, could be a flick of a switch and go, I'm done. I'm leaving it to the next generation. But interesting.
I'll tell you what, right? The way this guy Max Verstappen's driving, 8 might not be enough. He might want to try and take that to about 10 before he leaves, right? Because that's how Max Verstappen. How old is he? He's about 22, 23. Yeah. He's got years left.
Yeah. And there's so many of them, Robbie. I think, you know, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, Lando Norris at McLaren, you know, and that's not to mention what George Russell could end up doing, what Pierre Gasly might come back and do. The future of this sport is well and truly safe once Lewis Hamilton goes.
This guy here, MMCG says, guys, the battle between McLaren and Ferrari will also be worth watching. Tell us about that, Matt, because of course, Ferrari are heading the constructors.
Yep.
But Lando Norris, as we know, up at the start in 3rd place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, listen, it's been the tale of two halves this season long. And I just want to check to see mathematically, I'm not so sure that it's possible for McLaren to actually reclaim 3rd place. I think there's about 40 points between them. So unless both Ferraris crash out and the two McLarens win and come 2nd, which, you know, obviously ain't going to happen, then I think it's going to go to Ferrari. What a season it's been for both teams. It started out in the favor of McLaren. Lando Norris, we were calling him Mr. Consistent at the start of this year, scoring points in every single race, getting nearer and nearer to the podium, almost getting a race win. Charles Leclerc started the season with a couple of pole positions, which looked good, but then they didn't quite have the race pace. And then it sort of flipped on its head. McLaren dived headfirst into the bin. Ferrari came through and started showing a bit more consistency as a pair with Sainz and Charles Leclerc. And I think they've really teed themselves up nicely for next season. Ed, you're a bit of a Ferrari fan. You're looking forward to them getting in and maybe being more of a title contenders, aren't you?
Yeah, I think moving forward, everything's going to happen next year with the changes. And they've got two very good drivers in there with Sainz and Leclerc. I think watch this space of Ferrari. I think it's going to be some exciting things coming for the next couple of years. And also from a wider Formula One family point of view, we all want to see Ferrari be back up there doing what they've done best historically over all the years, with Schumacher. And we said yesterday, I'm a big Eddie Irvine fan. So if we can find a replacement for Eddie and get him up there, that'd be great. But no, I think it'd be great for Ferrari to be to back up right at the top and challenging and make it a three-way race between them and Mercedes, because it's great that we've had Mercedes and Red Bull going at it this year with two teams, but just chuck Ferrari even further into the mix, make things even tighter with six world-class drivers.
And McLaren. To be honest with you, Lando Norris, if Danny Rick can actually find some fucking consistency in that car next year, Robbie, I think we were all hoping that it'd be Danny and Lando this year as a power couple. That hasn't transpired. Next year we could be looking at genuinely an 8-horse race for the title, because I do believe that George Russell is going to hit the ground running in that Mercedes. We saw that last year for his one race at the Sakir Grand Prix. I think Perez has shown definite signs of brilliance and that he can do some bits, maybe with a fresh start next season. So we could be looking at 8 guys all coming at it next year.
Yeah, and it'd be absolutely amazing. And anything that gets anywhere close to this season will be absolutely amazing. By the way, get well soon to Mazepan.
Yeah,
great mate. He tested positive for COVID, so he's not in the race.
Do we mean that, Robbie? I don't know. You should never laugh at a man with COVID. You'll feel probably like that.
Hey, be careful.
But this guy is a sex pest. He's a daddy's boy. He doesn't belong in the sport. I hope we don't see him back on the grid next year. I know he is confirmed, but, it might be nice for him to step aside and us to bring in, the likes of Piastri, how he still hasn't got a seat. He is Formula 2 champion, Robbie.
He won the championship again yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And you know something? He's actually now won 4 titles in a row. In every division that he's been competing in for the last 4 years, he's been the champion of it. And yet, his dad's not a multi-billionaire, so what do you know? He's not got a fucking...
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And then, the Dutch fans, Max fans will know as well, there's Nick de Vries from Holland. I think he's come runner-up in the championship this year to Piastri. Again, not been announced a seat.
It's crazy that Piastri hasn't been. Anyway, they're getting on the way with the starter lap.
Little formation. Eddie, I think we should pour a beer over here. Robbie, we've got some big steins. And listen, this is for the end of the race. I'm going to fill up a stein and drink this if Lewis Hamilton is going to be champion throughout our final podcast. But it might stay closed if it's a Max win.
Oh, that's a bit salty. Right, let me talk you guys through the grid. Let's go for the top 10. It's Verstappen, of course, as we know, starting on pole as they do the formation lap. Hamilton in second, Lando Norris third, Perez in the other Red Bull on fourth, Sainz in the Ferrari on fifth, Bottas sixth in the other Mercedes, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Ocon, and Daniel Ricciardo in 10th place. Your mate Alonso in 11th place, Ed, unfortunately. Yeah. Gasly in 12th. It's in 13th. Stroll. I nearly forgot his name there.
Did well yesterday. We don't like him, but had a good
Stroll in 11th. Giovinazzi 14th. Vettel 15th. Latifi in 16th. George Russell, his last race for Williams, of course, in 17th, and Raikkonen in 18th. That is it. Mick Schumacher in 19th. And,
and no replacement driver for Marzipan. Usually you would see a replacement jump in. I think they've just thought, what's the point in this dog shit car? Can I just say, Robbie, I, for one, am really happy that Ed's beloved Fernando Alonso is starting all the way down in 11th place, because let me tell you something, that is a man who would happily see Max Verstappen win today and do anything he can to hold Lewis Hamilton up. I think if Alonso was further down the grid as a back marker, he'd be a problem. Further up the grid, he'd be a problem. I think mid-table is just where we need him to keep him well out of the way of Lewis Hamilton today.
You think he's still got that dislike?
I know he does, and I've seen in interviews, how he talks about Max Verstappen, and he's made no qualms about it. He wants Max Verstappen to win this title. He is not a Lewis fan at all. Well, Robbie, they're lining up. This is happening.
That's it. They're getting ready now. You can see the cars coming. It's showing Toto Wolff.
We should do a poll right now, Robbie, and see if it changes later in the race. Yeah. What are we feeling here? Who's going to be world champion at the end of this? Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen? Let us know in the chat, guys.
Yeah. Let me just ask you guys quickly before we go. Who's going to win this race?
Ed?
Max.
I'm sticking with my guy, Lewis. He's going Max. I'm sticking with him. It's got to be Lewis, Robbie. I've got to believe.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I've got to go Max, unfortunately.
Guys, don't do it.
We know our stuff, Robbie. That's why, you see, we know our stuff, Robbie.
Still we rise, fam. Still we rise. Thanks to everyone back at the factory. Let's get it.
Anyway, they are lining up. The race is about to begin. Some of the back markers just coming in and just warming up those tires. This is it. All the talking is over. It comes down to this, the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. Winner takes all. And in pole position to take all right now is Max Verstappen. He's on pole. And you're seeing the Haas's coming through there right at the back of the grid. Once they get in place, they're going to get ready to get those lights out. And here we go for the last race of a very long season, a very entertaining season. Red Bull versus Mercedes. There's the lights. And here we go.
Lights out, away we go, Robbie. Come on, Lewis, now, down the inside. He's already done it. Come on, Lewis, fucking get in there.
Lewis Hamilton has taken the lead. Phenomenal start by Lewis Hamilton. Who's that who's run wide there? Is that Ricardo?
Lando. That's Lando's wide.
Is that Lando's
the Ferraris have had a great start as well coming through.
Wow, but the Red Bulls are
Come on, Lewis. Pull away on that medium tyre now. Max is going to stay on him, Robbie. Max is going to stay on him now, knowing full well that the soft tyre, he's going to have the grip on these early corners before those tyres degrade. So expect Max to stick to the back of Lewis Hamilton like glue. And Sergio Perez has jumped into third place, Robbie. So there's a little shake and bake going on.
He's trying to
inside.
They've touched. Lewis Hamilton's gone off the track. They've touched. It's what we...
Where is he?
This is dog shit from the camera angles. So Lewis has gone off track to reclaim the lead there. Now, if I'm going to be fair to all the Max fans, has Lewis gained an advantage by leaving the track? Yes. Did Max make a dodgy move onto Lewis? We need to see it again. But I'm thinking, Robbie, Lewis was absolutely within his rights to avoid a collision with Max there and get out the way. And for those of you that thought Max might play dirty, you might have just been fucking right today.
They've touched.
Robbie, Max going like a madman halfway round already.
So there's only 57 more laps to go.
Jesus, I can't take it. Have you got an ambulance on standby?
This is crazy.
We need to see that incident again there, Robbie. Max really went for it.
Hamilton on his radio here. Of course, remember when we're watching this, we have the sound down on our TV screen, so we can't hear exactly what he's saying.
Max was on his radio just before that, so if anyone can jump in the chat and help us out there to see what was going on.
Listen, half in the chat, Robbie, is saying Verstappen pushed Lewis. Half are calling Lewis a cheat. It's just as it's gone all season long, Robbie. We're going to be divided on this till the end.
Oh, my God.
Now, Lewis, Robbie, we always do this at this point in the race. We like to settle in, and I like to just tell people now to follow this race. Keep an eye on the timing screens all the way down. So Lewis now has pulled away 1.3 seconds on Max Verstappen. He's going to try and build a little bit of lead and keep Max out the way. DRS will be enabled around lap 3. So currently, if Lewis can keep at least a second away from Max, then he's going to be able to stay out of his firing line, we hope. And this track generally now would deliver whoever's in the lead, pull away and just go ahead and win this.
They're showing a replay again. Talk us through this here. Whose fault is that?
Okay, Robbie.
That's Max. That's Max's fault.
You're saying Max. I'm straight away looking and saying, genuinely, I do actually think that Lewis has turned into Max there. Max has come down the inside. He is carrying too much speed to be able to fully make that corner. However, Lewis Hamilton, instead of yielding, you can see turns his wheel into Max Verstappen on the left. This is hard racing from two guys who say, I'm fucking not letting the FIA make the decision here. I'm going to go out and my destiny's in my own hands, as it were. Yeah, let me put it to you this way, Robbie. I think Lewis Hamilton would have done exactly what Max did there, and I think Max would have done exactly what Lewis did there if the tables were turned. So for those of you, no investigation necessary already, says the FIA there, Robbie.
So he's not going to have to give the place back. So
no, and for those of you who are in the chat as Max fans feeling like Lewis is cheating there, or what, I would just implore you to say, these boys, this is how they've raced all year long. Lewis cheating, Max cheating.
These guys, right? You know, they deliver. They deliver every race. Anyway, DRS now comes into play.
Crucially, the Red Bull is 1.3 seconds, 1.4 almost behind Lewis Hamilton as they've opened up. I'm imagining, Robbie, what we're hearing right now is Christian Horner on the radio to the FIA saying that they are not happy with that. And of course, now that the antes are so high, this is not just about a race win today. This is about a world championship win today. Expect a lot of shithousery between the teams and the FIA.
Oh my gosh. And talk us through this, Matt. How has Lewis managed to get that start on those? He's got the hard tires. Everybody said those soft tires are going to be the one that gets you off to the better start. How has he done that?
To be clear, he's not on the hard, he's on the medium tire.
Sorry, the medium tire. Sorry.
Yeah, so the medium tire is still a very racy. It's still a very racy tire. And there were people out there, and some of our followers saying it as well, that actually for this circuit, there is something about starting in P2 that gives you a little bit of an advantage down into turn one. But it comes down to reaction times, Robbie. Once that light goes out, it's first man to release his clutch, get on the gas and get away. And it just looks like Lewis has maybe split second reaction-wise beaten Max off the line there. And now look at the gap forming, 1.7, almost 1.8 seconds now. So for those of you that are newer to following Formula One, just keep an eye on the timing screen and you can see there exactly how it's going. Verstappen currently a quarter of a second a lap slower than Lewis Hamilton in first place.
Well,
the significance of that, Robbie, is don't forget, Max is on the soft tyre, which is the faster tyre. That tyre supposedly should make Max Verstappen a quarter of a second a lap quicker. So what we're seeing right now is Lewis almost at half a second a lap quicker if you take into account the tyres.
Could it be that, well, surely they couldn't have done this, like they turned down the engine.
Here we go. Here's your race start, Robbie.
Here's the start.
So look at Lewis down the inside, and it is just a faster start. Yeah. Max then knew that was happening, and you can see Max turn left to try and cover Lewis. It was too fucking late. Lewis was already all over it. He's had his Weetabix this morning. He was well and truly on his way. And then as we sweep round, is that turn 4? I thought it was going to carry on that helicopter shot. That was beautiful. But look, yeah, Lewis just not pissing around.
Wow.
What and there you go. Reaction time, a tenth of a second, Robbie. So Lewis's reaction time from the light going out to getting on the gas, 0.25 seconds. Max Verstappen, 0.35 seconds. Do you know something? The more I watch that, it'll be no surprise to the Max fans to hear me say this. I was sort of backing Max. No, Max has way overshot himself on that corner. There is absolutely no way Lewis is at fault in that corner at all, Robbie. As we see him come together there, Max Verstappen has just carried way too much speed into the corner in a desperate attempt. That's how I do it when I try and play the F1 game on the PlayStation, Ed. I'm dog shit at it, and I overextend every time and come sliding in. I think Max there, that is just a bit of desperation from him sneaking into his driving.
Well, this is a massive at the moment for Lewis Hamilton, but as we know, there's a very long way to go. We've only done 5 laps.
And we've just done one more lap, Robbie. And once again, Lewis Hamilton is a quarter of a second lap faster than Max Verstappen, fastest man on track. Lewis is not fucking around today, guys.
Yeah, he's not going to get no help from Bottas, who seems to be way down in about 8th place. What is up with this guy? You see Perez.
Who was that guy who was it a Man United fan? It's time to go. Was it? Or was it
that was Claude. No, that was Claude. That was an Arsenal fan.
That was one of you guys.
The legendary Claude, mate, that is.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Claude.
Yeah, right. So he's one of your mates. Yeah, well, that's my feeling with Bottas. It's time to go. He's just got to get himself in that Alfa Romeo and go back to enjoying race weekends because it's too much for him.
Absolutely incredible. Well, listen, for anybody who, if you're not a Formula One fan after this season, I mean, these
no
guys
hope for
have delivered every single race, haven't they, Ed?
Yeah, massively. So I've always liked my Formula One, Robbie. We discussed this with Matt quite a bit, but went off it the last maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe a bit longer than that. But this year, I've been completely and utterly hooked back into it because of stuff like this happening. You can't write this sort of stuff, can you? It's unbelievable. There's something happened to every week. There's some form of incident, some form of excitement, every single week. And then to bring it down to this is like the World Cup on steroids, isn't it? This is like the World Cup final on steroids times 2. That's the comparable. Might not be very accurate, but that's my opinion. It's
action.
Unwritten. Yeah.
It couldn't be. I tell you what it is, Robbie. It is the complete opposite sport to cricket, where fuck all happens and it's boring as fuck. It is just action-packed after action-packed.
Cricket's exciting.
That's a dig at Ed here, who, in fact, you should have your own cricket show, and he runs a cricket team back up in York. Oh, is that we've got an Aston Martin just getting a bit racy with is it an Alpine there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's
by the way,
going at
Astons,
it.
Yeah. By the way, I like cricket too, so be careful there.
Yeah, he doesn't watch it. He just thinks it's boring people standing around in fields, Robbie. But for people who know about cricket, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's 5 days of standing around eating biscuits in a field, which, I mean, I can do all of that just without the cricket.
What I would say is that Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton is a lot more competitive than what I saw in the Ashes.
Unfortunately, so Robbie, a few late nights for me recently. A few late nights, been very disappointed about.
I'd go to bed if I was you.
Yeah, I have been doing it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a bit of a shambles. But much more excitement today, as you say. Far much more excitement.
Now, Robbie, it looks like Karen Horner's back on the FIA radio there, just having another dig about that incident on the first lap. I think he's going to have to let this one go. They've made their decision. There's nothing they can do. But I just wanted to check in with the rest of the grid, Robbie. Carlos Sainz has managed to do Lando Norris as well. So Lando started on the soft tyre in 3rd place, finding himself down in 5th place already with Charles Leclerc, who was within a second when I first looked. It's now about a second and a half. Really strong from the Ferraris this back end of the season, just asserting they deserve that 3rd place today with Danny Rick down in 10th.
Well, we saw Lando start, didn't we? He came really wide. I don't know if that was just a bit of a lockup or what it was, but he came really, really wide. And obviously that's allowed Perez to get through and then Sainz to come through as well.
Absolutely right. Yeah, now your man Alonso's made no places, Ed, despite all of the chopping and changing. Kimi Räikkönen's up 2 places to 16th. He can keep going for me, and hopefully we'll see some donuts from him at the end if he can be bothered.
Apparently the Red Bull principal, Christian Horner, this is just reading this off of BBC, he's been fuming, very angry of what he describes as a total lack of consistency, but he's determined to get on with it.
Listen, I think whichever way this title was going to go, I think if Lewis was going to be crowned champion, I think Christian Horner and Max Verstappen would turn on the tears. I think there's a lot of Max fans that would maybe feel that Toto and Lewis would do the same thing. I think if we could remove Max and Lewis from that, and if we could call that Lando versus Sainz, I think we'd all agree on that one. Max has just overextended going into that corner, trying to get the move done. You can't do that. That has to sit as that driver's responsibility. The fact is, nobody's been penalised. Nobody lost or gained any places. Max hasn't damaged his tyres. He's not damaged his car in any way. He's still where he was before he made the move. So I think that's why you can't look at that and say, well, the FIA are screwing us over here. I mean, who's lost out here?
Right, to make it clear now, though.
Come on.
Lewis Hamilton's now on these medium tyres, going back to these tyres again, but Lewis Hamilton's on these medium tyres and Max Verstappen's on the soft. So you're saying that after how many laps is Verstappen going to be able to come in, and how long?
Robbie, and this is a completely ill-informed, a stab in the dark prediction based off of, watching the sport for a few years. I imagine that soft tyre, they're going to want to change it somewhere between lap 10 and lap 15. But they might extend that session. Whereas the medium tyre, you would expect to get well into the 20s, 25, maybe even push it a little bit more. So, yeah, expect Max Verstappen to stop first. And then I wouldn't necessarily expect Hamilton to want to cover that straight off. Max might come in and put, in fact, no, he's going to put the hard tyre on. I don't think Max has got. Yeah, and there you go. Max is already on his radio to say that his rears are starting to struggle. So this is going to be music to Mercedes' ears now.
You never know. Yeah, hold on. I've been hearing this all season. This
you have actually, shit.
Yeah. My tyres are struggling, and then next minute they do about another 10 laps.
Yeah, I mean, It fits the narrative in terms of Max being on the soft tyre. That tyre should be degrading. I told you at the start of the race, somewhere between lap 10 and lap 15. And that's because, don't forget, he did have to do a few laps on these tyres in qualifying. So it's not a tyre that lasts a particularly long time. And for those of you, I'm just going to draw your attention back to the timing screens. Lewis Hamilton now 2.5 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. So he's managed to actually get another second out of his lead over Max Verstappen over the last 2 or 3 laps. He's flying now.
Let me just ask you again then, Matt. So if he comes in and he changes onto what tyre would
Max Verstappen? From what I understand, I don't believe that Max Verstappen has another set of mediums, or he may have one set of mediums. If anyone's got that information, put it in the chat. But I imagine Max to come in and put the hard tyre on and try and do the drive of his life to get it all the way to the end to make up to Lewis. Lewis, from his position, can do 10 laps less on that hard tyre by coming in a bit later and then switching on the hard tyre and going all the way as well. So for me, if I was in either garage, I'd be looking at bringing my guy in and going for the hard tyre. If Max had a pair of mediums available, he might want to do a medium, make it a 2-stop and go as quick as he fucking can in order to try and get the lead of the race back.
Big up Micah. He says, this is my first year watching F1 because of you all. So thank you very much.
Oh, come on now.
And this is crazy. This is crazy at the moment. But Lewis Hamilton is in front. And at the moment, he seems comfortable. But this is a very, very long race.
Now, Robbie, there's someone else in the chat here that I know to always talk a lot of sense. He's got better taste than you in football team. And he seems to also be a big Lewis Hamilton fan. Is that X on here saying, Robbie, Verstappen's a cheat? I'm watching.
If you see him, ignore him.
No, I'm all about it. In fact, now that I know he's also a Lewis fan, I can get on board with that. We're a feeder club to 2 teams in the Premier League, Robbie, Spurs and Liverpool. So...
Oh dear. But listen, by the way, that track is a beautiful track, isn't it? Over there in Abu Dhabi. I mean, absolutely, Max, you got to get them links. We got to get the links going for next season, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely keen. You know something? I told you that we have a link for Saudi Arabia, and we nearly ended up going last week, yeah? And they came back and said, listen, we'll try and do everything we can to get you there next year. Have you had a look at the calendar and seen when
is that Ferrari World there, by the way?
Yeah, that's Ferrari World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, have you seen on the calendar when next year's Saudi Arabia Grand Prix is?
No.
It's the second race of the season. It's in March.
Oh, it's in March?
Yeah, sooner than we thought. Yeah, fancy a bit of that. We need to get on them.
I'm on that.
Yeah, yeah. Bit of sunshine.
Especially in March. I'm on that.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Do you think watching it again there, Verstappen tried to take Lewis out?
Yeah, big time. Honestly, Max has come in like a fucking missile, Robbie. There used to be a chap that he was called Danny Kvyat, and he had the nickname given by Sebastian Vettel, the Torpedo, because he just comes in and, wiping people out there. Max has absolutely torpedoes his way into that corner to try and absolutely disrupt. And I think a driving style I've noticed from Max, and please, by all means, come at me if you think I'm just stabbing in the dark here. I think Max Verstappen is somebody who bullies people on track by calling bluffs, right? And hear me out with this one. I think Max has got this big reputation of being this aggressive driver that when it comes to that incident there, he looks at it and I'm sure thinks, if I send it down the inside, Lewis will be terrified of crashing. Lewis will get out of my way and come back at it. And so for me there, that was a show of Max going, well, I don't really give a bollock. I'm going to send it all the way in. Lewis will get out of my way. And credit where credit's due, Lewis managed to get out of his way, but still give him a little bit by turning in and then coming off track and doing everything he had to do to make sure that it doesn't go to the FIA's office.
Callum McGowan says, because Max knows he can make those dirty moves without worrying about the consequences, because he can crash both out and win the championship, which is... Yes, but
no, you know something, Robbie.
If he did it deliberately, he would have been penalised.
Correct. And actually, Michael Masti really stamped his authority out on this one before the race. He actually visited both drivers and explained to them, which this phenomenon has only happened once before in F1, and that was with Senna and Prost. And he said, if that is the case, I'm going to deduct championship points from whoever I feel to have done that. In other words, if Max wiped out Lewis and it was seen to be deliberate, Max would be deducted points and he would not be champion. So I think they were really, I mean, I don't know what else they could have done to say, please, lads, keep it clean. Please don't.
Brian Sample says Hamilton clearly cheated and he's backed by the FIA.
Oh, they all love that, Robbie.
Max is struggling. Says this guy.
Hey, I'm looking forward to getting this inside me. It's early days, Robbie, but we're going for the bottle of bubbly.
Smell that brake dust. Maxine Verstappen says no. Bloody hell.
Here you go, Robbie. Let's keep checking in as well on the timing screens here. Lewis Hamilton in the last 3 laps has gone absolute flame speed, 5.4 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen now, really pulling away. Now, I think what we're seeing here is Max Verstappen trying to preserve that soft tire as long as he can. So he's backed off a little bit to make sure that he doesn't wear them out too quickly. If he's not careful, Robbie, this race is going to run away from Max Verstappen. Lewis is setting fast lap after fast lap. He's just gone purple in sector 1 again. I don't know what Red Bull's move is here, Robbie. Do they get him in early, get him on the hard and get him back out?
But then he's going to be on the exact same tire,
absolutely,
as Lewis is on. I mean, somebody asked at the start of the race who's going to have the better strategy.
Yeah, they did.
At the moment, ATM, you have to say it's definitely Mercedes.
Yeah, and I did. That was my initial feeling. But what a weird season it's been. You know, it's been the kind of season where what should happen has not happened.
Yeah, Pewis says Checo. Oh, I lost it there. Checo might be maybe the difference as well. Bottas out there in 8th, not helping anyone. But then
here we go, Robbie. Red Bull on the move,
coming in to change the tires.
Yep, we told you it'd be the hard tire, so they're going to whip off that set of softs, put him on a hard, and Mercedes just seeing exactly what I was calling out to you a moment ago. You really learn a lot in F1 by watching timing screens. It's a good stop from Red Bull.
Those boys are very good in there.
They're the best. They're actually the best in Formula 1. 2.1 seconds. My God.
They're very good.
So that's exactly what they've seen, Robbie, is this race was getting away from Max Verstappen. So now he comes out. Now he's going to take a lap or so to warm that hard tire up. And now really it's not going to be about going as fast as he possibly can. It's going to be about getting that tire all the way to the end of the race, which let me tell you is a big ask.
Do you see that? So Max has
come out off there.
Max has come out of the pits there, and Leclerc is absolutely fired it down there, and I think he thought it was going to be a collision, so Leclerc's gone wide to avoid Max there.
Oh, interesting.
Who locked up there? Who locked up there?
That was Leclerc, Charles
Leclerc, and he's lost places crucially there. They're going to look at that as Max now comes cruising through.
Because the pit, when you're coming out of the pit, it's a very big winding, then open back onto the track. And I think Charles coming down the racing line, I think he's had to lock up there.
And I tell you what, I'm loving seeing my guy Yuki Tsunoda up in the mix. What a weekend he's having. And Lewis just on radio. Oh, and Charles Leclerc now coming at Yuki.
Good move, that.
Yeah, nice. Great move down the inside. Really good racing. Finally, we're seeing a bit of action in the midfield today. We promised the people action. Oh, now Mercedes are going to cover off.
Mercedes are coming in.
That's Valtteri.
No, it's Lewis Hamilton.
That's Lewis Hamilton. That's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, 2.4 seconds. Now, let me tell you why they've done that, Robbie. I did tell you that the medium tyre can go way longer than the soft. But listen, if you've got a 6-second lead on Max Verstappen in second place and he's come and put a hard tyre on, why risk allowing Max to catch up anymore by performing an undercut? You've got your 6-second lead. Come in, cover the stop, put the same tyre on, which is the hard. And now anything Max can do, I can do better is basically what Lewis and the team are saying right now.
He's out ahead of Max Verstappen, isn't he? He's out ahead. He's in second place now.
And let's just look as well. I think he's protected his 5-second cushion versus Verstappen. So really smart moving for Mercedes to be able to pivot there. They've changed their strategy.
Oh, here we see what you're talking about. Oh, is that Verstappen's fault? It caused Leclerc. You were right. Well spotted, Ed.
Oh, that could have been very dangerous. Really put him off. It seems a really odd place to rejoin the track.
They fire out of there as well. They're fully up to speed when they're coming out of there. And I think he's just got a bit flustered and just giving it a bit of.
And then he's locked up again, which is what you saw later, Robbie, while he was then trying to rejoin the action.
Do we think Perez has got a big job to do now here with Lewis? Can he play a part here now and slowing it down? And
he's going to have to come in soon, isn't he? He's on the soft.
He is on the soft. Now, it's a good spot from Ed. And I think if Lewis was a lot closer... Oh, one sec. This is going to die. Eddie, you take over.
Yep. Well, yeah, can do. No, because of the tyre strategy, yeah, he's not going to be able to do as much of a job, and with Lewis not being as close, it's going to potentially hinder Max's chances of Perez doing a job for him. I think he's probably going to be where we're at, isn't it, realistically? But he's still
got to remember as well that Verstappen's behind Sainz at the moment as well, who's still out there as well for the Ferraris.
Yeah. So listen,
he's also got someone to get past.
Exactly. And Verstappen being a second and a half behind Sainz is an issue for Verstappen. But Perez, he's 10 seconds ahead of Lewis. No, that's Charles Leclerc coming in.
Leclerc coming in. As we saw, he had that lock up, so best to get him in.
He did. So hard tyre for him. He's keeping up with the big boys. Poor stop, though, 3.4 seconds. Ocon's in at 2.7. Good stop for Alpine. So to Ed's point, are they going to leave Perez out there to slow Lewis down? Unfortunately, Perez is so far, I mean, we call it ahead. It's behind, really. But at 10 seconds, 9 seconds, he isn't affecting Lewis's race at all. However, Max's championship literally is hanging in the balance because this Ferrari is in his way and he is not clearing it at the moment. He's got DRS on the Ferrari, but this is forming really well into Lewis's hands right now. Max
Ferrari may not be happy about the previous move as well, so they're not going to do him any favors.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Max has got to go past him here, hasn't he, by lap 17, 18 at the most. But with the Perez thing, to bring back to that, can't Perez really slow his pace down and then get into a bit of a battle with Lewis and slow Lewis down and just don't play dirty, but just be tactical. Don't let him through. Don't let him pass. And then with Verstappen getting through Sainz, then he can just go gun for it, catch Lewis up, and then close this gap down to 3 or 4 seconds.
Like I was saying, in theory, yes, if the gap was much smaller, if it was 2 seconds, they would try and use Perez in that way. Unfortunately, let's not forget that Red Bull need both of their cars to score as many points as possible to try and win the Constructors' Championship, which will mean a lot for them. They're definitely not going to want to sacrifice their driver.
That was a mistake there by Max Verstappen.
I don't know if you guys going wide again. He's desperate. I think he's driving like a desperate guy, not necessarily like somebody who's got his race all together and is comfortable, confident that he's going to win this championship.
Right? Can he get Sainz now? Can he get Sainz now? Is in DRS zone?
Come on, Max.
No,
and he's still.
No.
This is going to be frustrating the hell out of him, Robbie. You want to see the red mist come down on Max's eyes. This is going to be driving him crazy.
Wow. It's not turning out our Red Bull 4 after the brilliant pole. But here he goes. No, he still can't get him. He still can't get him.
Honestly, Robbie, that Ferrari's a different car at the back end of this season. It really does look good, Ed.
Yeah, I say big fan of Ferraris. I think Sainz is excellent in there. And this is exactly what they don't need. There's a lot of things happen for Max at the moment. But then to get stuck behind this Ferrari for 3, 4, 5 laps, maybe, it's going to put his chances down even further of getting the result that he wants today.
Totally. Now, for those that have been keeping an eye on the timing screens, like I'm saying, Lewis Hamilton saying fastest lap after fastest lap on that amazing hard tyre there has brought the gap down from 11 seconds to 6 seconds in the last couple of laps on Perez. He is going to be absolutely breathing down Perez's neck in the next couple of laps.
That's going to be the interesting thing.
It is, and he's done that all while Max has still failed to get past Carlos Sainz and get back into third place. This really is going Mercedes' way at the moment.
Could Perez run him off the track?
No, don't, Robbie. Please don't.
Is he there? He's in a Red Bull.
And there you go. The stats on the screen just confirming what I was saying there. In 2 laps' time, Lewis will be in strike.
Here goes.
Yeah, he's got him, hasn't he?
Yes, he's got it done.
Yeah. Sainz looked to be fighting him, though. Sainz has not let him go.
Yeah. But he's
right on him. Poor camera work from those guys, but right on his tail still. Good move from Max Verstappen. Sainz does not make that easy.
Oh, is he going back
Sainz is coming back at him.
Sainz is trying to come back at him.
Nah, he's going around the outside.
He's trying to come back at him.
And Max will never yield the inside on a corner. We've seen that all season long.
We saw it with the touching incident with Lewis, but obviously we've just seen it there. Max does get down the inside pretty well. I know obviously he touched Lewis there a little bit previously, but he gets down the inside so well. He has that bottle. He goes in late, so the torpedo nickname. He goes in late,
and he's actually done that move where he tried to take Lewis. Notice how Max really slows down as he comes to the corner. So he's done the move. Now he's slow to make the corner. He made no attempt to do that while he was racing Lewis Hamilton on the first lap. Robbie did not slam on his brakes and apply that kind of pressure. He very much knew he was coming in and across rather than in and round.
Well, we know what he's like with his braking, don't we, last week, eh? Likes to brake when he wants, doesn't he, Max? Yeah.
He brakes when he wants. He brakes when he wants.
By the way, listen, thank you to everybody who's been who's watching this watch along at the moment. It's been in the chat, loving it. You know, apologize that we weren't able to do it from in the studio today.
Yeah, come on.
I'm having to isolate. It's not Matty's fault. It's not Ed's fault. Right. I'm having to isolate at the moment. I'm feeling fine, by the way, and really, really enjoying this race. But thank you to all you guys, man. Really appreciating it. You guys been loving the F1. It was Matty, you brought the concept along to us and said, you know, you guys be up for doing this. I love my F1. I said yes. And I have to say, Matt, I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been fantastic.
No, listen, Robbie, big ups to you, man. I think, you know, it takes a lot to, you know, predominantly your football channel. You've got a lot of football fans there. And, you know, you've actually, you know, some of these races, you've actually done this instead of some football stuff. And I think it just shows you how massive F1's becoming that, you know, even the likes of you who's been football streaming for years and years and years can go, yeah, let's have a bit of F1 on here. And I think, you know, the comments have spoke for themselves. People seem to be... they want to see the Don doing more F1.
Definitely. We're seeing Hamilton now right up on Perez. So what's going to happen? This is going to be the next big incident. Can
I make a comment about this? If I could just be patched into Lewis's helmet right now, can I just say, Lewis, you don't need to do him. He's still got a pit. Just relax. Don't do anything stupid. Don't end up getting wiped out of this race.
He's right up on him, Lewis.
But he's going to go for it because he's a racer.
Going to do?
He's going to get him now, isn't he? But I think, you know, although Lewis has been driving really quick, doing fastest laps, he's been making 2 seconds a lap up. That's not through just Lewis driving quickly.
Here goes Lewis. Here goes Lewis.
Stay out of his fucking way, Perez.
He's past Perez.
No.
He's trying to.
Is he going to get
what
it?
Is Perez trying to
do?
And Lewis has actually yielded that back. He's gone, you know what? I'm going to be sensible. Thanks for patching me into his helmet. Go on, Lewis now. Yeah,
that was
he's got
close,
the pace.
but
He's got
Lewis
the grip
Hamilton is past Perez. Perez has not been able to take him out. Perez is coming back at him.
Perez.
Oh, Perez there came back past Lewis. He's definitely defending.
And let me just say this, Robbie. Lewis got out of his way then. If you just saw, Lewis actually turned to avoid Perez. He's thought, I'm not fucking having it.
What a little battle this is. What 8, 9 corners going at each other back and forth.
Now, crucially, Max Verstappen has also jumped into third place as Sainz has pitted. So this is right now what Ed was calling earlier on. Perez is now backing Hamilton up into Max Verstappen. Verstappen is only 4.4 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. Now that he's in clean air, this is awesome for the Max fans right now.
Push him out.
But here comes Lewis. He's trying to go down the inside.
Good. No chance.
He can't get past him.
Good driving from Perez. I know we
3.5 now. This is working for the Max fans. Perez is backing Lewis up into Max Verstappen. 2.8 seconds. It's happening all over again. 2.5 seconds. Robbie, this is sensational work. As teammates, we talk about the importance that Perez and Bottas could have had on today's race. This is exactly it. Perez being out there on dog shit. Soft tires.
Here he is.
Max 1.1 seconds behind Lewis.
And Lewis is past him now. Lewis is past.
Oh, no. Perez is not letting this go.
Perez trying to come back at him, but I don't think he's going to get him this time. But look at Verstappen. He's right up on him now. He's caught him now.
But
wow.
Perez has done his job there, though. Perez has done his job
in holding him up. And Verstappen is back in play. And that wouldn't have been great for Lewis's car as well.
Both of the Red Bulls have got DRS, and look, Perez has let his teammate go.
Perez lets his teammate go straight through.
Lewis Hamilton, Robbie, has just lost a 6-second lead on Max Verstappen. It was all looking so good right up until Sergio Perez got himself involved.
Sorry, correction on there. 7.4 it was at its most.
7.4. My God.
Well done, Sergio.
Incredible.
Guys, the race is back on. It was looking like a formality at one point, but look at that. Max Verstappen gained 5 seconds in one lap. 5 seconds in one lap, Robbie. That is unheard of.
Brilliant driving by Sergio Perez.
Yeah. I don't know if Mexico give out knighthoods, Robbie, but I think Sergio Perez is right in the running. Here he comes for his hard tire.
If only Lewis wasn't in a one-man team and he had someone else to help him do something like
that.
I know.
He doesn't have a teammate.
Bottas. Nowhere to be seen. What incredible. I want to watch it and relive it over and over again. Lewis, not once, not twice, but possibly 3 times, actually got out of the way of Perez when the move was done, as if to say, I can't risk it here. Go on then, come through, Perez. I'll take you later. I'll take you later. And it cost him 5 seconds.
What a great lap and a half.
So what's this move here? Is this the move that I'm going to talk about where Perez comes really tight down the inside?
No.
There he comes. Yeah, it is. Watch this now. Oh, no.
The amount of times they could have crashed there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's how we saw Lewis just holding back and then pulling away and coming at him. And then
totally right.
He shouldn't have got engaged in those corners. He was just waiting for him in the DRS zones and got at him. But yeah, Sergio's
but all that time, you know, you got Max Verstappen catching him up.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And now look at this. Crucially, Max Verstappen is matching Lewis's lap times, more or less. He's gone 700ths of a second faster than Lewis in the last lap. He's now not going to let him go. They're on the same tyre, Robbie. They changed the tyre at the same time. So now it's very much even Stevens as Lewis pulls 2 seconds into the lead.
We saw it in qualifying, didn't we? The only genuine area we saw the Red Bulls gaining paces in Sector 3, wasn't it? Max has actually dropped some pace on him in Sector 3 there, but Lewis has got some pace in that car, hasn't he? He's just gone from 2 to 2.2.
Come on, Lewis. Do it again, son. Build your lead. If you could build...
It's amazing driving. I'll tell you what, if Verstappen does win this race, he needs to go and, you know, anything Perez wants. It's yours, mate.
Quite literally.
What a house, there's the house. What a car.
Perez is going home with Max's missus at this rate. He wins it. Unbelievable.
It'd be only fair, wouldn't it, really?
Would be only fair. It's the least it could do.
Kevin Ball asking the question, do either of them stop again?
So listen, nobody has to stop again. Once you've used a different tyre compound and done 1 pit stop, that's all the rule says. Now, the hard tyre is the only tyre capable of doing a lot of laps. However, it's going to be very tight. To expect it to do 35 to 40 laps here in this heat on this fast circuit is a lot. So I think they're both going to be probably thinking about going all the way. If not, expect to stop if they change their mind around lap 45 for the soft tyre. Maybe around lap 30. No, sorry, 40.
There's this guy saying that traffic will be a problem.
Yeah. At the moment, no. There's no back markers. But at the speed they're going, Robbie, look at the gap now between third place Yuki Tsunoda. These boys are nearly 20 seconds ahead of Yuki Tsunoda in third place.
It's been amazing. It's an amazing race.
Just what we wanted, right? There's been drama. There's been
that's what we wanted. Just what we wanted. Absolute drama from start to finish. And
here we go. Tsunoda finally pitting. Good weekend he's having at the moment. And Bottas now up into third place. Yeah, Toto didn't look too pleased there when we panned to him.
Yeah, because his other driver's 19 seconds behind someone that he needs to be close to. So. Yeah. Other than that, he's done a cracking job. Yeah, good lad. Yeah.
Listen, Toto will be a happy man. If it finishes like this, Lewis 1, Bottas 3, believe me, they're going to be very happy, but it's nervy. And Bottas right now, all he can do is keep Sergio Perez at bay.
Yeah.
Wow.
We haven't seen much of him though, have we, Valtteri? We've not seen much of him today. Obviously
no.
not been doing much, but we're not seeing much of him today.
No, sod all from him. Daniel Ricciardo having a stinker of a weekend once again, Robbie. I feel like that's becoming the new mantra of our show. He's down in 12th.
And he started off in 10th.
Yeah, exactly. Lost places. Yes, he stopped, but so's everybody else ahead of him, other than Alonso and Gasly. They're going long. My
least favourite driver on the field, Robbie.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Danny Rick. And do you know why?
He does flatter to deceive, doesn't he?
Also, we talk about cricket there. I can't support any Australians, full stop. I can't do it. I can't support, I like 3 Australians. I can't support Danny Rick. So, yeah, not just Ashes.
You're going to have all the Aussies on the stream onto you now. They're not going to be pleased.
The most likeable man in Formula One, not even just on the grid. He's the most likeable guy in Formula One.
No, Danny Rick, yeah, he is actually. But he's had a poor season, hasn't he?
He has, to be fair. He's not done what he could have done in that car.
I've always looked on him as like sort of that next level down, just underneath, like say a Hamilton, but he's not really.
He's got a good car as well. This thing, he's got a good car.
Well, no, okay, but he's not got a great car.
No, but he's got a good car. So he's got a good car. I mean, look, what's the difference between him and Lando this year, points wise?
Oh yeah, massive. Yeah. Well, actually, no, the gap has closed. He's the only one of the two of them with a race win.
Who's better out of the two of them, him or Norris?
Before the season, Robbie, no question in my mind, Daniel Ricciardo, last of the late breakers, incredible driver, in a decent car, could go all the way, has finished second in a world championship while he was at Red Bull. But listen, Lando looks to be absolutely part of the future of this sport. I might have to give it to Lando. What do you reckon? You'd be a Lando man, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Lando. And look at this year, 40 points difference.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. I mean, Lando's been so consistent this year as well.
Well, it's still Lewis Hamilton in the lead of the race at the moment. In second place is Verstappen. Bottas now into third place, and Perez in fourth. And Fernando Alonso in fifth place.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing my red, Robbie. My red for actually, I bought a new red bow tie, Robbie, because I knew I was obviously going to be on with you, and you know, I heard you like Arsenal a little bit, or is it Spurs you like? I can't remember. So I got a new red bow tie. There you go.
What's your team then?
I am a lover of the game. However,
so you know it's someone shit. Yeah. When someone opens with "I'm a lover of the game," you know it's someone shit.
No, I'm a Leeds fan, Robbie.
Ooh, we got you next week.
Yeah, unlucky yesterday, to be fair, Leeds, I thought. The bit of controversy after the game, Rudiger was throwing it about, and 3 penalties, and a good game, to be fair, actually. Good game.
Listen, you want to talk about unlucky? Southampton were unlucky.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're a Southampton fan, Matt.
Oh, we were cheated off the park, Robbie. Well, best team on the pitch the first half hour.
For the first 15 minutes, you played very well.
Yeah.
Then after that, it could have been about 5 or 6.
Yeah, fair. Oh, Willie Caballero. I don't know why he's come to us this last week, but he was dog shit in goal.
Yeah, I think you're so short of keepers at the moment.
Yeah. Your boy had a good game yesterday between the sticks, Robbie.
He's a great keeper.
Great keeper. The only thing I don't like about him, as a former goalkeeper myself, wears short sleeves, Robbie. I can't get on board with it. I can't trust a goalkeeper who wears short sleeves.
You don't like goalkeeper? That's the new vogue now. Because they've got these long gloves, in it, that come up to about here.
Yeah, you're wearing like oven gloves, but Buffon could pull it off. And that's about it, Robbie. Otherwise, I'm not interested. I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
It would be weird to see an England goalkeeper with short sleeves, I have to say.
Yeah.
It would be weird.
Don't trust him.
By the way, Robbie, back on the race, Raikkonen. That's Raikkonen, isn't it?
It is. And I just wanted to say, I don't know whether Jason and the production team can put another poll up for us. What I want to know is this. There's been a movement out there as we see Raikkonen sliding off.
He hit the barrier.
Yeah, but he's managed to get himself back on the track. So there's a movement out there, Robin. I don't know if you've seen it. The driver of the day is something voted for by the fans and awarded by Sky Sports. There's a movement of people that want Kimi Raikkonen, regardless of the race result, to be given driver of the day as a final bow. So I think as a poll, I'd want to know, do we want Kimi Raikkonen or someone else? And that could be anyone else, whether you think it's Perez, Max, Lewis, Lando, whoever it is. So do you want Kimi Raikkonen as driver of the day or someone else? I think would be a really interesting poll.
Okay, George Russell. Oh, that's Russell on the radio. That's whose car's that? That's Raikkonen. He's in the
Raikkonen's in there after his
retire. Is he retiring?
At the moment, no. And listen, the code of conduct, the generally what you would do, and
he's done.
Retiring. He's retiring. Kimi Raikkonen in his last race is retiring.
Surely,
from the race.
Robbie, when it's the last race like that, whatever you are, even if it takes you 15 minutes to fix it and get him back on track so that we can see him cross the finish line at the end.
I guess that question you just asked about driver of the day has been answered for you.
Well, it might have done, although you can still vote for him as driver of the day.
Good 28 laps, though. Yeah, well done. Yeah,
best 28 laps I've ever seen.
Oh, who's that?
That's George Russell.
George Russell running off the track there.
Yeah, I don't know what was he doing there? Is he trying to avoid
all
something?
Over the place.
Have you found a new racing line?
Is there damage on the track?
Oh, no. He's got issue to his power unit.
There's something wrong with his car.
Yeah, I think there's a power unit issue there, and I think you can expect to see George Russell limp that all the way back.
Don't worry, mate.
Shame for giving that. Real shame for that.
Oh no,
yeah,
listen, he is still. Oh no, he's climbed out. I was going to say he's still sat in his car. Oh, what a shame. Kimi Raikkonen, thanks for everything you've done. Incredible guy. Do you know something? You know, more than just his driving over the years, Robbie, he's been one of the best personalities. If you haven't been on YouTube and watched Kimi Raikkonen's best radio moments, it is a really entertaining few minutes of him just being sassy as fuck.
Rami share with a question. He says, what's the points of all the lower teams racing? Why do the points matter to them? Just wanted to ask, he said.
Yeah, but what's the point in Norwich being in the Premier League? No, but what's the point in Norwich and Newcastle and
Southampton
being
in the Premier League? There's no point in them being in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes a competition. It also provides a breeding ground to be able to find the next talents. If we look at somebody like George Russell, you know, next year is going to be a superstar driving in one of the best cars with a real shot at regular race wins and even a championship. So, you know, we need these places for people to learn the sport, to be able to then come through and do some bits. And of course, it provides with just nothing short of sheer entertainment when we see a lower team come through and scoring points or, dare I say, getting podiums. Alpine would be considered a lower team, yet, they've performed amazingly this year. They're going to lock 5th in the championship. Ocon's won a race. Fernando Alonso's been up on the podium. It's been a really good year from them.
Just seeing that on the radio as well. Lewis is saying, thinks it's a long way for these tyres. Do you think that's just a bit of mind gamey stuff, or is he genuinely concerned about his tyres, do we think?
That's classic Lewis Hamilton is what that is. Yeah, I think...
there have been people in the chat saying that Red Bull looking at a second stop as well. So it would be interesting.
It's basically now Red Bull have to do something in order to disrupt things here. So I would imagine, as boring as this prediction kind of is, Red Bull will take the lead on this. They might decide to come in and pit. If they do that, then expect Lewis Hamilton to just come in and cover it. Yeah. He's got his 4-second lead. Why risk it any other way? And that was Max Verstappen's girlfriend there, Kelly Piquet, a daughter of Nelson Piquet.
Is that Nelson Piquet's daughter?
It is. And she actually has a child with Danny Kvyat, former Red Bull driver. And she's jumped ship to be on to Perez next.
Yeah, after he drove today.
Absolutely.
Enough, hey.
She's going, you know what? There's something about that Mexican for me.
Hey, behave. We don't want to get cancelled. Kimi's best moment. Oh, so let me get this comment up. JLFC says Kimi's best moment, Monaco, when his car broke down.
Agreed.
So instead of going back to the pits, he went straight to his boat for an ice cream and a beer.
Listen, Robbie, if you haven't seen that replay, he climbs out of his car in Monaco. Instead of getting a lift back to the garage, walks, takes his helmet off, steps onto a boat in the harbour, and is seen for the rest of the race sat drinking a beer, watching the race from a yacht. It's so cool from him.
That's so cool. He's my guy.
He's the Iceman.
I like that.
Matt, I think you walked straight into this comment. Love B says, jump ship just like Southampton players to Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely fair point. It's awful being a Southampton fan, I'm not going to lie. Horrible.
Oh, brilliant. Big up to you, Ramesh, by the way, and to everybody who's been sending their questions in. King says, I don't get manufacturers that need to pay drivers. They shouldn't be in F1. But
he means paid drivers. So he means effectively, yes, all of them earn a salary, but he doesn't mean that they get paid. What he means is there are certain drivers that actually come with $100 million worth of sponsorship. So the evil Stroll Empire are a paid driver. Marzi Span is a paid driver. Actually, on a controversial side, Lando Norris actually comes with a lot of money and technically would sit in that paid driver territory. It is unfortunately the reasons why the likes of Piastri, and this is Bottas coming in the pits now, guys. It's the reason why somebody like Piastri for not. Whoa,
that was jazzy.
That was incredible. You see that camera then? Did he just do it like a 360 spin?
Yeah. Why do you think Bottas is coming? Do you think that's to just test to see?
I think, Robbie, that's his first stop. He was down in 10th place. I think he was only sitting in 3rd place because he hadn't pitted yet. Is my best guess on that one.
You could
Again,
be right,
happy to be wrong on that one. We need to see the graphic for it. But yeah, he's on the hard tyre now.
You can see how that caused the problems, with Max and the Ferrari earlier, with the way they come out of the pits there. It really does sweep out.
Yeah, it really does.
And then it could cause a few problems, obviously, which we did see. But,
and that graphic confirms it for us, Robbie. Bottas had not stopped. So that's his first stop, and he's now a true 9th place. Alonso and Gasly in 4th and 5th have not stopped. They're the last cars on the grid.
Stay out there, Fernando. So. You can win it. Come on.
You can't.
Zero stopper.
Stop.
He can. He can do what he wants.
Imagine if it made it all the way on that time.
He would. He's multiple world championship winner. He knows what he's doing, Robbie. He could nurse that car around, no problemos.
Asim says, I started watching F1 this season, Sao Paulo qualifying, and ever since I've loved it. What a time to be an F1 fan. And this guy, Anirudh, Anirudh, he says, what should be the tyre strategy now? Wait till the end and change into mediums towards the end, or step into fresh hards again on lap 35 to 40?
So, crucially, great question. Crucially, Max Verstappen, as I understand it, does not have a medium tyre left in his locker. He's used his allocation. His last medium tyre is, I believe, the one that he burnt out, unless any of you can tell me otherwise. But I think that's what we found out yesterday. So Max is going to need to go a little longer to be able to use the soft tyre towards the end of the race. So I would expect that around lap 42 sort of way, and it should do 10 to 15 laps in race conditions. They can go all the way, Robbie. It's just going to be down to degradation, and Max will stop first. There's no way Lewis Hamilton is going to stop before Max Verstappen. If Max stops, Lewis will stop immediately. If Max stays out, Lewis will stay out. That is going to be how this championship's decided.
This is a great question here from Cyrus. He says, why are Ferraris so mediocre, given the fact that they spend the most money of all teams?
I think historically they have done, but I'm not so sure that they've been the biggest investors in the last couple of years. I think Ferrari, Mercedes, and this year Red Bull, Robbie, poured a lot of money in. They actually managed to poach a lot of the key technicians from Mercedes over to Red Bull, which maybe explains why Red Bull has had such a great car this year compared to previous years. So I think the investment's been pretty big from all three of them. But Ferrari's demise, they were strong in 2018, and then they were found to be running an illegal engine component. And when they were asked to remove that, it literally set them back a year or two on their engine development. So Ferrari literally went from being the people challenging Lewis Hamilton with Seb Vettel to you're lucky to lock in 4th place last year in the championship. Expect them to come back. I think they've had a year or so now where they've been really building. I really hope that we see Ferrari back on top.
The radio's there.
Interesting, that.
Yeah, both tires. Yeah, both tires feel good.
But then he was saying, yeah, if the safety cars come out, would we have to go out on the mediums?
Just explain what he said.
Yeah, so basically, I missed the first bit of the message. Eddie, you give us a message.
About if there was a safety car to come out, would you be happy for us to go on the mediums?
Yeah, so that's Lewis sort of saying, listen, the mediums are really, really good tyre. He's maybe aware that Max doesn't have one as well. So that's them, Lewis trying to influence the decision if something happens. They are now coming up to back markers. So Lewis now just needs to be careful, as they always do, moving through traffic. And come on now. Are we really saying that it's a Ferrari as well? Or is it? No, it's Bottas.
Yeah, I say it's not
with his,
traffic. That's Leclerc and Bottas, that.
Yeah, with his blue gloves.
I'll keep you on track, mate.
Don't worry about it. I need a top up.
He's gonna take him. Ooh, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't take him. Who's that? Who's Leclerc? That?
That's Claire, yeah.
Yeah, and Bolockless Bottas. Just in case anyone's forgotten his name.
He's known to his friends, friends and close colleagues, yeah.
But it's starting to turn out.
Well, Robbie, if we check back in with the timing screens, this is what we started the race by saying. And look, once again, Max did all that work with Sergio Perez to get the gap from 6 or 7 seconds down to 1 second. Lewis is 5.5 seconds in the lead again. So, yeah, looking really, really strong. It looks like it is truly a Mercedes track over the course of a race, but that does not mean that more incidents can't happen and Lewis can't be knocked off his perch today.
Do you think Lewis is probably sort of managing now, where he's not going full pelt, just maintaining that lead he's got?
Yeah, I think Lewis's strategy now is to almost play like a Mourinho Chelsea team. It's get one up and then just park the bus a little bit, Lewis right now, his job is to keep Max 5 seconds behind him. His job isn't to get 10 seconds ahead, but equally his job isn't to slow down too much. It's going to be watching the timing screens. And if Max starts gaining time, and wow, look at that camera angle, by the way, on Charles Leclerc. That's a helmet cam, Robbie. It's brand new to the sport. Only one driver wears it, I understand. For a weekend, and this is Charles Leclerc versus Bottas. They can see fuck all out of that car.
Yeah, you really get to see the speed they're going at with that.
Oh, incredible!
And the joltiness and all the bumps.
Yeah.
See, the point there, Matt. You're saying about is Lewis is sort of managing this through a little bit. He's just done another fastest sector P3.
Yeah.
Sector 3, sorry.
So
he's putting in big laps. He's gaining distance on Max, even though he might be holding it back. Is Max just not got the pace then?
No, exactly right. I think Max showed that he's got the 1 lap pace, and Max is capable of just driving the bollocks out of that car and dragging it through. But as we go across the race, there's a fine point between overdoing it and underdoing it, I guess, getting the right potential out of the car. Don't forget that the cars are burning off fuel. So the times get faster for every single car as the car gets lighter from burning fuel. So Lewis putting in purple sectors doesn't tell me Lewis is pushing hard. It shows me that, his car's getting lighter and he's just doing what he needs to do.
So again, come off here. That's Antonio Giovinazzi is retired as well.
The curse of the Alfa Romeos today. The two guys who will never drive in F1 again, both out of the race.
Yeah, both Alfa Romeos out of the race. Antonio Giovinazzi, safe where he's parked up there?
Yeah. I wouldn't expect. Oh no, we might see a safety car because of where it is in a braking zone. Effectively,
it could be like a virtual safety car, maybe.
Yeah, I would expect.
Where's the old cranes? They got the old cranes that lift them out of it.
Yeah, they will do. Or that barrier might even open up. But is he just off the braking zone? I'm amazed that we've not hit a virtual safety car, actually, Robbie, for where he is.
Mm.
You know, it's a quick corner. You know, if they do slip out there, and that's what they have to look at. But great that they haven't. Look at that.
Anyway, the race continuing with Lewis Hamilton up front. Abdi says, don't you think that the technology should be the same for everyone so that results depends on the driving skills and not the technology?
Great question. Just as we start a virtual safety car, Robbie, which effectively means that the gaps remain the same. They all decrease speed by 40%. So Lewis, who is currently 7.8 seconds ahead of Max, should remain somewhere around the 7 seconds ahead of Max. So in terms of technology, the cars have the same technology. They have to be built in a certain way. There are just little elements and little ways that different teams can tune up the cars to be a little better. That's going to get much closer next year. So this idea about, don't you think the cars should be more similar? Yes. And in 2022, they're going to be a lot more similar than they have been this year.
I think, though, what we're seeing is that even if they were all in the same cars, it's still the two best drivers at the moment that would probably be... Oh, Red Bull coming in here.
Now, this is a massive moment with a virtual safety car. Time is saved simply because everybody else is traveling at 40% less speed, means coming into the pits saves you a massive amount of time. Now, listen, Robbie, if Max Verstappen pits here and he's behind Lewis, so Lewis hasn't pitted, if the virtual safety car ends before Lewis gets a chance to pit, Max Verstappen will gain a massive amount of time on Lewis Hamilton. It could even bring them out level. So this is huge. We're still on a safety car. Lewis needs to come in now, Robbie. So as he's making his way around the track, and you can see he's got a long way to go, that virtual safety car for Lewis Hamilton needs to stay exactly where it is in order for Lewis to be able to come in and change his tyres to have a fighting chance against Max Verstappen.
It might stay the same because of the position of where the car was.
Bang, and there you go.
Perez is coming as well.
So this is what we saw Saudi Arabia the other way around, that the Mercedes dived into the pit lane to make the stop. I'm just trying to hear that radio. I can't get it, Robbie. It's too low. But Mercedes are talking to the FIA about something, maybe trying to clear up how long the virtual safety car will be out. So Max Verstappen comes out still in second place because they were so far ahead of the rest. But crucially, Max now running a fresh set of hard tyres. I didn't think he had a medium tyre left. Lewis now will have the choice whether he goes medium or hard if he comes in.
Toto Wolff looking a bit stressed there. Maybe it's not going all Mercedes way after all.
No, because look at this, crucially, Max 23 seconds behind Lewis. The pit will cost Lewis 20-something seconds. Now, with the virtual safety car, it might cost him a little less. This is a big moment now, Robbie, whether Lewis pits or not pits. I say he's got to pit. I'm going to be too nervy for the end of this race if he stays out there on old tyres. No, he hasn't pitted.
He hasn't
there
pitted.
You go.
Why it's ended.
And the safety car has ended.
Decided not to pit there. He had the opportunity to come in and decided to stay out.
Interesting. Race has just been made interesting again.
Yeah.
Oh,
green flag. Track is clear. We're back racing.
21 seconds. Yeah, if the virtual safety car would have stayed out for another lap, it would, and Lewis would have jumped in. They would have been pretty much all square, wouldn't they?
They would have.
Too much of a risk to have taken, I think.
And you want to talk about risk? The gap is only 18 seconds. Max on a fresh set of hard tyres. He is going to be fucking flying, Robbie, with 20 laps to go. Max Verstappen's job now is to take 1 second a lap out of Lewis Hamilton in order to catch him and have time to overtake him at the end of this Grand Prix. Robbie, we talked about if you could write a script, this is how it would go. We could be looking at an overtaking opportunity within the last couple of laps for a championship.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Big decisions being made here.
Massive. Now, Toto Wolff, our guys in the chat have just let us know what Toto was saying on the radio there to the FIA was, please do not deploy the safety car. Leave it as a virtual safety. So really interesting that...
so that means they must have confidence in their tyres then.
They must do, but look already, Max Verstappen, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's nicer to be the one doing the chasing rather than one being chased. You know, and already now 16.8 seconds. Max Verstappen is going to gain on Lewis Hamilton all the way to the end of this race.
and Lewis make it all the way to the end of this race on these tyres.
Why did Lewis Hamilton not cover that pit stop by coming in?
I think the gap was too tight. I think the gap was too tight for him to...
It would have been under normal, but it wouldn't have cost 22 seconds. It would have cost, I don't know what it is, 18 seconds because of the virtual safety car speeds.
But Lewis is theoretically, I think, is going to know best if he can manage those tyres round with a 16-second lead. It was 19, 20 seconds.
It was. And let me tell you this, maths-wise, if Lewis was to pit right now, he would come out 6 seconds behind Max Verstappen. So this is completely flipped on its head, Robbie. It is going to keep it tense until the end, just as we think we're going to get an easy ride. Yeah, and Lewis now is agreeing. Why have you left me out? You've massively risked his entire title on leaving him out on track.
Always someone else's fault, isn't it? Eh? It's always someone else's fault. It is with Lewis. It's always someone else's fault. Bless him.
That guy who asked, remember that guy asked right at the start, he said, whose strategy is going to win it? Could it be...
Well, you know something, Robbie, unlike the last 6 seasons, the Red Bulls have been ahead of Mercedes on strategy every single time this year. They really have made the right calls when it mattered. Last week, they knew a red flag was coming. They didn't pit. And crucially, that kept Max Verstappen ahead of Lewis Hamilton where it matters. And this week, they've used the virtual safety car to their advantage, got fresh tyres on Max. And look now, 15.9. Somebody's helpfully done the maths in the chat for us, Robbie, and told us that Max Verstappen needs to take 0.8 seconds a lap out of Lewis to overtake him before the end of the race. Max Verstappen currently looks to be doing a second a lap faster.
Wow.
This is going to go all the goddamn way.
Would you have wanted it any other way, Robbie? Would you have wanted it any other way this race is going, eh?
The Alfa Romeo is going to be the best friends. It's Alfa Romeo.
I'm slagging cricket
It
off.
could not be further away from cricket, this, could it?
Well, that's made it interesting, and all of a sudden the pressure is on Lewis Hamilton.
Big time.
Let me just say one thing in Lewis's defense then. For the Lewis fans that are now feeling a sense of doom and dread, Lewis Hamilton is possibly one of the best preserver of tyres in Formula One history. And Max fans will be laughing at me right now. But honestly and truly, if anyone is capable of getting a set of tyres longer than they're supposed to last, it's Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen not quite doing the speed that he needs. The gap's now 15.6. He's taken half a second out of Lewis that lap, but he needs to be doing almost a second a lap to do it.
Won't be able to keep this pace up for the whole way.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So Lewis already saying, I can't go as quick as I am doing. So Lewis doing everything he can right now to keep that 15-second gap. And he's saying, listen, if you think I can keep going this fast, you're done for. Max Verstappen, meanwhile, will only get faster as he burns off his fuel.
You know, we're unbiased Formula One fans. So just imagine this scenario now. We're getting to 54, 55 laps onwards. And Verstappen's within DRS zone. And Lewis has got to keep him off for 4 or 5 laps.
No chance.
Oh, boy.
No chance. I don't think he can either.
How exciting would that be, though?
No, it'd be insane, and I don't think he'd be able to keep him behind. I'm not saying that couldn't happen. I'm saying I think if Max Verstappen finds himself on the gearbox of Lewis Hamilton, I don't think there is a driver out there that would stop Max from getting past him.
Well, but just, as we talk about end of a season, everything's come down to this.
Yeah.
And actually, the two big boys have a literal dogfight in the last 3 or 4 laps for it. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be insane.
Wow. Wow.
Back end, wouldn't he? As a back runner, Valtteri would have to go get him. Have to run him off.
I love it. People are watching the timing screens, Robbie. They're listening to us, and you can see there now, Max Verstappen really is taking time out of Lewis Hamilton. We're down to 14.8 seconds now. So he's managed to do a purple in Sector 1 as well. Max Verstappen is flying. It's nervy.
Lewis, could he be playing games?
No,
he can't afford to.
I think at this stage, Lewis knows full well now. Max behind him isn't going to stop again. He's got a fresh set of hard tyres on. He's definitely, no question, can go all the way at full speed. Lewis Hamilton has got an old set of hard tyres on. He is not going to be able to go full tilt to the end. There's no point anymore. There's no benefit to any mind games. This is now purely about the...
You really do gain an advantage under these, if you get it right, under these safety cars. I mean, we saw it last week with Red Bull, that they use that to their advantage, and they're doing it again here, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely right. They have got it spot on this whole season long, actually, when it comes to deciding pit lanes. And that's something that Mercedes have been really good at the last decade. But credit where credit's due. Red Bull getting it all right. 14.2 seconds now. Looks like Max has taken half a second out of Lewis just over this last lap here.
Yeah.
When Hamilton asked and said to his team that, you know, it was a bit of a risk leaving me out, the team came back and said to him the potential for losing track position was too high.
And that's what it was, wasn't it? The timings between them was so tight. It could have been coming out slightly ahead or slightly, and it was too risky, wasn't it? And they're thinking, could he hold on to a 21-second lead? And at the moment, not too sure about that.
There.
But with the whole tactical stuff, isn't it? You know, it's a gut, you know, it's a gut decision at the end of the day. There's all this technical analysis around it, but the Red Bulls have gone, let's get you in, Max. And if that backfires, that's all we will be talking about. The same as what we're talking about Lewis now. If Lewis loses this Grand Prix, it's going to be you know, a split-second decision that Mercedes have made to keep him out there, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And it's guts versus technical analysis, isn't it? You know, sometimes you have a gut feeling, get him in, and it seems to be working for Max and the Red Bull.
I've got a great comment here from Al Guapo. Sorry if I've got the butchered the name, but he's just said, let's see how good of a defensive driver Lewis is. Schumacher was a champion many times because of his legendary defense. Let's see what Lewis has got about him. It's a great comment from him that actually now, okay, forget the tires, forget the things that are going against you. Now, if Max is going to bear down on you, let's see what you can do to stay ahead of a man who's coming at you with more pace. And look at that screen there, all greens for Max Verstappen.
Could crash into the back of him.
Oh, really? Yeah. Force Max to make the mistake it'll be plan B.
They're saying that Max could lead at around lap 55 at his current pace. Do you think that maybe he's preserving, Lewis is preserving a bit those tyres?
Lewis has to preserve the tyres. You know, it was always going to be a long shot to get that tyre to the end of the Grand Prix. The fact that Max Verstappen has no concern in his mind about tyres now with fresh means Lewis has to further do it because he needs grip. So he's not just got to get to the end of the Grand Prix. He needs enough grip that if it comes down to needing to defend against Max on a fresher set of tyres, he needs the grip to be able to do exactly that and continue at speed through the corners. Look at the difference there. 6 laps Max has done on his tyres, 30 laps Lewis has done on his. Absolutely. Wow. That could make all the difference in a battle with 3 laps to go. But then let me just play devil's advocate, Robbie. You know, we saw Perez hold Lewis Hamilton up for 2 or 3 laps on a knackered set of soft tyres, you know, and do that with Lewis on completely fresh tyres. So, you know, that it doesn't mean everything, but what it does mean is that Max is going to have the pace advantage to get behind Lewis.
Yep. Do not discount Lewis's old tyres. He finished races multiple times from this position, says Anirudh.
Yeah, like I say, I've no doubt he'll get to the end of the race on this tyre. It is just whether he's going to have the ability to be able to defend. It's a long way for Hamilton to go, Perez is saying on his team radio. Currently, this looks very strong for Red Bull, Robbie. In position 2 and 3 at the moment. Sainz nowhere near Perez. So really, they're in a league of their own right now to be able to see what they can do to challenge for this title. Bottas, meanwhile, still down in 6th place, within DRS on Norris for 5th. Doesn't look to be challenging.
Alaguapa says, this is Horner versus Toto Wolff just as much as it's Max versus Lewis. This is the end of season that we all wanted down to the wire, and he's 100% true there. Rich says, Lewis under full pressure, preserving the tyres, preparing to defend against the incoming torpedo launch. Man, what in no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Right back to where we started. Yeah. Lap 1, Max overextended.
Just throughout this one race, obviously both drivers, you know, could argue could have deserved to win this over the entire season. But over this one race, you can easily say that this driver will have deserved to win it. Wherever Lewis can hold Max off for X amount of time, or Verstappen can get it done and get past Lewis, whoever wins this race will win the championship and has deserved to have won it based off of 100%. This and everything's happened.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like you say, if Max makes the comeback and makes up 20 seconds on Lewis, incredible drive.
Yeah.
If Lewis holds back Max on fresh tyres, absolutely flying at him, incredible drive, deserves it. Either way, the fact that they started on different tyres, the fact that they've taken different decisions all the way through this Grand Prix has made it as exciting as it could possibly be.
It's a bit boring, if not, wouldn't it? Both just have a couple of pits.
Well,
just do a few things. We'd have nothing to talk about, would we?
Yeah. Yeah, I love this from Cloud Strife there, just saying you can see why Mercedes are getting rid of Bottas. Exactly right.
We've been saying that for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, we really have.
Well, it's coming down to they haven't let us down with this race.
They
Even
sure
at
haven't.
a time when you thought Lewis is looks like he's going to be cruising home, Along comes another drama with the safety car, the Alfa Romeo running off, and that has brought Verstappen right back into play. And for a little bit, it looked like Lewis was going to be home and dry, but certainly now, who knows? You can't call it.
You can't. Now, interestingly, I think Lewis Hamilton is actually coming up against some back markers.
He is.
Robbie, that is going to cause problems for Lewis. It's going to slow him down. And what we saw happen there with Checo Perez backing Lewis right up into Max Verstappen. Obviously, blue markers aren't allowed to back them up. They have to get out of the way, but it still will, again, allow Max Verstappen to gain seconds on Lewis. If Max can clear them quickly, then, again, it swings back into Max's favor.
Well, Lewis there seems to be gaining on them pretty quickly.
Yeah, he just needs to get through this traffic, doesn't he? He just needs to get through it.
He needs to get through this traffic pretty quickly here. They should let him on.
There's a lot of it, though, isn't there? That's the thing. There is quite a lot of it by lots of things.
There are a lot of cars, but then, he's saying for both guys, they've both got a passing pass. So...
But then it's really interesting. Matt says that, at the beginning, Fernando doesn't like Lewis. Does there become a bit of shithousery? Some of the back markers going, I want Max to win, I want Lewis to win, and might just hold him up, even if it's a couple of extra, tenths of a second or whatever. Do you think that type of thing can happen?
I like to think that it's not a deliberate thing, but I think they take pride in being the one to do that. However, when Michael Massey came through and said, here's the punishments for deliberately disrupting this race, deliberately this, deliberately that, it only really affected Lewis and Max. So the hole in there is, if Perez did wipe out Lewis, Perez would lose some points. Lewis would be out of the race and there's nothing they can do about that. Max would still be champion. So, I think that there's not really a lot of punishments that can be given to any of the back markers if they do end up crashing into Lewis or Max. The guy who stays on track will still win the championship.
Yeah.
He can use a DRS on his back markers as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lewis will get DRS to get round them. And the back markers, though, they basically get 5 opportunities to get out of the way. So they don't have to just dive out of the way straight away. So here we go now. Lewis up against, is it Danny Rick?
Yeah, it won't be Norris, will it? It must be Danny Rick.
Danny Rick. Or are we looking at... no, this is Bottas versus Norris. Twice I've done that now.
Cars look the same.
Look for the gloves.
Look for the gloves. That's exactly it. They need to put something on there. They used to give us the number on the front of the car or something.
Yeah, or when they show the helmet, you can always tell. That, by the way, that hotel there they've got there that's lit up. It looks absolutely incredible, doesn't it? I mean,
I don't know if you follow that chap. He's an Irish guy on YouTube who reviews watches. And he's been invited out there. He's got a hotel suite on the track with a balcony that wraps around his whole room overlooking the track for the Grand Prix.
Oh, wow.
He reviews people. Have you seen him? He reviews like footballers' watches, F1 drivers' watches on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Massive. He's got about 1 million subs now. Absolutely killed it the last couple of years. And I was thinking, man.
You'll have to let us know how it is, Robbie, when you're out there next year. You'll have to let us know what your views like.
Because Robbie, remember, we come as a package. Me and you.
I get a watch as well. What if I get a watch?
Yeah, fair.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
is that Hamilton now? We back on Hamilton?
Yeah.
So the gap's come down then. It was 13.4, I think, was it? The last couple of laps, now down to 12.2. So Max is taking some time out of Lewis.
He is, but crucially, Max has now got to come through that same traffic that Lewis has just moved through. So hopefully, for the Lewis fans anyway, that stalls him a little.
So I'll ask Robbie first and I'll come to you, Matt. 10 laps to go, Robbie. Where's your gut?
Ooh, I have to...
He started by saying this was a Max win as well.
I think you've got to go with a guy now that's in lead, haven't you? You've got to go with the guys in the lead now because you've got the advantage of being in the lead. And he's obviously going to go all the way to the end on those tyres. And I just get the feeling that unless, which it can happen, something went wrong with those tyres and he got a puncture or that, I think I'd have to go with Lewis at the moment. But I don't know. Lewis is on his radio, is it?
Let me give it to you like this. 10 laps to go, 12-second gap means Max now needs 1.2 seconds a lap faster to get past Lewis Hamilton, not within striking distance. Currently, Max is lapping at 1 second faster. So it is looking like it's going to be squeaky bum time right at the end of this Grand Prix. I don't want to jinx anything, but I started by saying Lewis Ed. I'm going to finish by saying I still think Lewis has got this one, and I'm going to be doing a stein of champagne to celebrate at the end.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it's Lewis's, unless anything happens, as you said, Robbie, unless anything goes disastrously wrong, Lewis is to lose this, right?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Who knows?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm done.
Just how we wanted it, though.
After
Just how we
all of
wanted it.
this, 49 laps into a 58-lap race, Bottas started 6th, and he's still 6th. In that Mercedes.
No stops, though. Yeah, as well. So.
Yeah, no, he has. That's showing.
No, yeah, one stop.
Oh,
one
sorry.
stop.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So he's got nowhere.
Good driver, though. Good lad. Yeah.
Knows his way around
Lucky
the
lad.
corner.
Yeah, very lucky lad. Yeah.
Lucky lad to be driving
No,
that
he's
car.
living my dream. Yeah, he's getting paid millions of pounds a year to eat chicken nuggets and nip about a track on a racetrack.
Now, surely you'd want to be like a Robert Kubica, wouldn't you?
Yeah, reserve driver.
Yeah, reserve
I would.
driver.
My dream, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Robbie, but growing up, my dream was always to be the third choice goalkeeper for a Premier League team. You know, just enough that I felt part of the team and, you know, was definitely in and amongst it all, but without any of the pressure of actually having to play ever. I think that's the dream.
This DJ Ashbury says, I can't watch this. It's so nervy.
Oh, yes. Shout out DJ Ash. He's been with us since day one. He's actually a big AFTV and Don Robbie follower as well, Robbie.
Big up himself. Big up himself.
Top guy. Actually, as well, a Max fan who has kind of, I'm not going to say come across to the light side, but yeah, it's kind of softened a little and gone, you know what, they're both great. And either way, I think I'm right in saying Ash.
Hamilton back on the radio. I mean, Horner apparently said we're going to need a miracle in the last 10 laps.
Yeah, probably fair, isn't it? It's probably fair. He's going to have something drastic. But if you're Max then, or do you, Red Bull tell Max, absolutely floor it, absolutely gun it. If you overcook a corner and go out, do you take the risk and potentially risk a DNF?
Well, if he, you know, you got to give it all now, innit? Because it doesn't matter. He's still going to, if you finish second or if you're a DNF, you still finish second in the championship. So, you know, he's just got to go for it, isn't he?
I think so. I think they've just got to go, just absolutely smash it for the next 8-9 laps. If you crash out, then it's tough.
Yep, you just gotta go for broke.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm starting to get excited. This is like I don't know how you get this. This is like we're getting to the end of Christmas Eve, you know, and there's all that like, oh, I'm so excited for tomorrow. But now we're settling in a little. We're 8 laps to go. Max is still 11.5 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. We can start to dream.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a done deal, shouldn't it? But
what a season.
Do you think it's so you would maybe Lewis has just sort of managed those tires a bit why he has gained, and then
I think
it's just about managing it now, isn't it?
It is, but let's not forget that gap was 22 seconds. To make up 22 seconds is a phenomenal feat. When there's no water, when there's no rain, when there's, you know, when it comes to softs and rain and being on slicks instead of a wet or whatever, that time's easily changed. But, you know, a 22-second gap is a massive feat to try and claw back. Max has done half of that already. If this was a 65-lap race, then Max would definitely be in an even stronger position. But asking him to do Lewis by 1.2 seconds a lap, every lap over 10 or 15 laps in racing conditions is a big, big ask.
I think they're relying on a punch or something. This guy says Lewis being told to be careful of turn 15 and 16 to avoid a puncher, probably the curbs there.
Yeah, totally. This now, I mean, Lewis having that little gap now, again, if Lewis in any way picks up a puncture, has an incident, needs to pit stop at all, the championship's over, it's done, it's finished, it's all goes to Max. So, you know, Lewis, it's tough. He's got to keep pushing. He's got to stay as far ahead of Max as he can. And look, Max has now got traffic in front of him, so that's only going to slow Max down now.
Oh, I thought he'd done the traffic already.
No, look, he's actually, this is Max Verstappen we're riding on board with right now, and he is well and truly got a couple of guys.
He has got. I thought he cleared the traffic. No, he's still got to
no, so that's Danny Rick. In fact, he's got a full train there. He's got Charles Leclerc, Danny Rick, and the 2 Alpines to clear. This really and truly is not going the way that Max Verstappen would have wanted it to today.
Wow, what a race.
Which is fantastic news, Robbie.
What a race. It's been incredible. It's been incredible season.
Great. Jordan's just saying in the
right
chat,
down to the wire yet again.
Jordan's saying in the chat here, Robbie, apparently that the French commentators are praying for a puncture for Lewis Hamilton. He's going on to say it's ridiculous.
The French?
That's disgraceful.
It's
That would
funny,
be
you know, a lot of
disgraceful
people
if
like
that's true.
I got a lot of people hitting me up in the DMs, you know, Max fans, and you know, I was saying I've loved the battle this year, and they were like, yeah, I think it's felt bigger than Max versus Lewis. It's felt more like the Netherlands versus Britain. And I was trying to explain to him, listen, Great Britain are not behind Lewis Hamilton.
No.
You know, some are, but Lewis is a polarizing figure in this country. You know, probably more so than anybody else. I think he's
Why? I
somebody
could
who's
never
got,
understand why. That's the thing for me.
I think,
can never
honestly,
understand
Robbie,
why.
I don't know if you've ever, I'm getting a little bit serious here. Stephen Fry did an amazing podcast years ago, and he talked about the difference between America as a culture and Great Britain as a culture. And one of the things he noticed is, as a people, we don't really celebrate success. When people become successful, we have a way with our media and with our mindset and everything of dragging people down. And Lewis Hamilton was loved in 2007, 2008. Absolutely everyone loved him. Once he started to become successful, dress successfully, do you know what I mean? Spend his money, start campaigning for human rights issues, like whatever it was, all of a sudden they feel like, oh, who does he think he is? And, you know, unfortunately, we have that little bit of a mentality, you know, across Britain that we don't celebrate somebody like that. I don't, you know, I think for me, I just think what he does and how he's trying to campaign for things and change the world and do all of that. I'm a believer in that, you know, I'm all in.
Plus
And
as well,
I mean,
I mean, you know, if he doesn't, if you just race and do nothing else, and everyone complains and says, "Oh, you never say anything," and you can't win, can you? But for me,
totally.
I think this season with some of it,
Oh!
there's a crash.
Now this could be massive, Robbie. So
This
Nicholas
could be
Latifi
massive.
out. We should be looking now at least that's going to be a full safety car, I imagine. This could give Lewis Hamilton, Robbie, the chance to dive in the pits, get the fresh tires on, but crucially, anyone could pick up a puncture. Can you see all of that debris?
Yeah.
That is razor sharp debris. If you run it over, you burst your tire. You're
Safety
out
car is out. Safety car is out. It's Lewis Hamilton
wow.
just avoiding that.
Oh, shit. Now, has Lewis got an opportunity to pit here? The safety car brings them back together, Robbie. Now, all the gaps are gone. That 10-second lead that he had on Max Verstappen, Robbie, is gone. Forget about it.
Latifi is out of the race, crashed.
They
This
are now
could be
zeros.
huge.
With 5 laps to go, this is exactly what we didn't want to see if you're a Lewis fan. If you're a neutral or a Max fan, it couldn't get more exciting than this.
Here's one for you, though.
Oh, is this Max Verstappen coming in the pits?
Yeah, Verstappen's in.
Verstappen's going to pit for the soft tyre, Robbie. Oh, my God.
I like that, though.
No, if Lewis has stayed out, this race is over. Forget it. Max Verstappen wins the World Championship.
But here's one for you, though. Can they get that cleared in 5 laps? There's 5 laps to go. Can they get that cleared?
What they're doing here, the Mercedes don't look.
Yeah.
Honestly, Robbie, if Lewis doesn't pit now, race is over.
We're gonna have to.
Championships, Max Verstappen's. He's on the soft tyre, and he is going to come out second place, which means he'll take Lewis immediately. Championship's over if Lewis Hamilton doesn't pit right now.
He's got to come in. He's got to, hasn't he?
He has to. But you see on the graphic, he's a long way back. Now, Verstappen, meanwhile, so Lewis needs to be able to get in and out in front of... Oh, but he's behind the safety car. Oh my God, this could not get bigger. Guys in the chat must be going mental. Lewis needs to pit right now, Robbie. But is he going to have time? Lewis is already caught up behind the safety car. He needs to be able to come out. Oh, honestly.
Crazy. Dramas all the way down to the end.
Oh, no. And look at that. Lewis is saying it's unbelievable.
Could you believe it? And that car looks in a bad way, though.
That's what I'm saying. There's 5 laps to go. There's now 4. Can they get that cleared in time? Does the race just finish under a safety car?
It can finish under a safety car. I can't see him ending a championship under a safety car, surely.
How are they going to get that out there?
Are they not going to red flag instead? Oh, I don't know.
Just imagine if they red flag.
They could red flag Robbie and only allow 3 laps of racing. Honestly, anything to play for here. Does Lewis stay out and wait for a red so he can change his tyres? Why are they doing that? They're fucking last, Robbie. They're racing for absolutely nothing.
This is incredible. This changes everything.
Oh, he's just
this changes everything.
Latifi, dog shit paid driver. Lahoof, we've called him all year long. Because who is he?
Ooh, that's a heavy crash as well.
It is a heavy crash.
That's a heavy crash.
He just locked it up going through there, isn't he? Yeah, bang.
Yeah, he's locked it up. Heavy crash right into the barriers. They're going to have to clear all that debris off the track as well as taking the car off the track.
Lewis has stayed out of the pit lane, Robbie, so he's choosing track position.
He's got to stay out, hasn't he, really, when you think about it now, because this race might end. What do you think?
It could end.
Oh.
It could, honestly, Robbie, your three options here is the safety car comes in and we get 2 laps of madness with Max on fresh, soft tyres to win the championship. It could be that the race ends under safety car and this is it, and Lewis is champion without actually having a full race finish. It could be red flagged in order to give us the final 2 laps.
The red flag's no good for Lewis. That's the worst case scenario, isn't it?
No, the worst case scenario for Lewis is that the safety car comes in, because what happens before the safety car comes in is all unlapped cars are allowed to unlap themselves. So what it means is Max Verstappen will be allowed to pull up behind Lewis. All those other cars behind Lewis will run around the track as fast as they possibly can. And then this race will restart with Max Verstappen on the fresh, soft tyre.
At the moment, he has got quite a few between. Wow,
he has. So right now, if we go all the way without the unlapped cars unlapping themselves, then we're okay. But there's Max Verstappen there.
He can't go past any of them at the moment, though, can he?
Oh, Robbie, this is absolutely massive. A lot of people in the chat.
So how many laps have they done under the safety car now? I can't quite see.
2. I think it's 2 laps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far. This is massive, Robbie. 55.
And how many laps left?
3 laps to go, Robbie. The safety car.
Will it just end under the safety car? Is what I'm
love
starting
it
to think.
Honestly, Robbie, I know that's the pussy's way out, but I'd love it to just end under the safety car.
It's going to be crazy if it loses. This
no,
guy says it's gone.
Look at
It's
that.
gone to they're moving the car.
If the car comes off the track,
They're moving the car. So that car's coming off.
Can the safety car only come off at the start of a completed lap, though?
No, so basically the safety car, once the track is clear, will then be given a 1 lap's notice of the safety car coming in. So there's 1 lap extra. This one 2. We might, Robbie, get 1 restart where literally they get 1 lap to try and do each other at the end. This could all come down to a quick restart.
Listen, there is some sort of Hollywood script makeup behind this season.
Robbie, we're about to find out.
This is crazy.
We're about to find out whether God's British or Dutch, I think, is what's going to happen here. 3 laps to go officially. The safety car's still deployed. We will get 1 lap's notice on the safety car coming in. Now, what's going on here? Is this Perez preparing to come in? Yeah. So they're going to pit Sergio Perez down in 3rd place. He must have a free stop on signs.
All the lap cars will have to get out.
Sergio Perez retiring his car.
Oh,
that's devastating for their hopes of the championship. But what a drive he's had today. Crucially,
he's put in a great drive. I mean,
he couldn't have done more today.
No, he's done everything for his teammate there, hasn't he? And shame to see him go out, to be fair, because I think he's had a good race today.
So many people like, what the fuck is going on in the chat? Love that. Race control. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake, Robbie. Massive news. What that means is usually when there's time left in a race, all the cars between Lewis and Max are actually lapped cars. They're back markers. So normally they'd be now allowed to overtake and get round to their true position at the back. Max would then be allowed to get right up behind Lewis. We would restart. The FIA crucially here have said, no, lap cars are going to remain. Now, yes, Max is allowed to overtake them and they'll all be blue flagged, but that crucially helps Lewis Hamilton and puts a little bit of distance between him and Max Verstappen. We're going to get 1 lap of racing, Robbie.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
We're on 56. The safety car is going to come in on lap 57 and Lewis Hamilton will restart this race with 1 fucking lap to go.
It's officially mad.
Max Verstappen on the soft, fresh tyre. Let's remind the people that is the fastest tyre available in Formula One. The fact that it's a fresh tyre means he is going to be able to go with no fuel in his car, so he's light as fuck. He is going to be lightning fast, Robbie. Lewis Hamilton sliding all over the place on cold, worn-out, hard tyres. This is going to be mad.
This guy, Kevin Ball, says that's fair because Lewis was ahead.
Agreed.
Max. Why should the FIA decide this? Isn't this strange, says Marek.
Oh, come on now. When you talk about FIA deciding this, it's decided if they allow the lap cars to go by and Max is all of a sudden, not once but twice in this race, benefiting from the free pit stops.
Get them warm.
And that's effectively what Max has been
I don't think Max could argue in this race. He's had every opportunity with little things go for him.
Yeah, he has.
He really has, you know what I mean? And It's going to be interesting this last lap. So what you're saying is none of these, but surely they'll just get out of the way anyway because they know the significance, right?
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? You would hope so.
Racing drivers just not allowed to get out of the way.
Racing drivers don't like to get out of the way. They're only going to do that so long as it doesn't cost themselves time. So they will find an appropriate time under blue flag conditions to move to one side to allow Max pass. What they're not all going to do is just all pull left and let Max nail it all the way down the straight. And if they do,
you can't just, I guess, and the speed that those cars are going, you can't just move out of the way anyway. Like just
no, exactly.
Like
they don't want to lose time themselves.
As we saw last week. Yeah. Trying to get out of the way.
What's happening now? Safety car, is it coming in?
Oh, it's surely got to be.
It's the last lap, isn't it?
So we've got effectively, with a lap and a half to go. I imagine the safety car is going to come in for one last lap, and we're going to get one hot lap of absolute madness to decide the title here.
Apparently, like Verstappen was complaining. He said, yeah, of course, typical decision.
Yeah.
When he was told that he's not allowed to overtake the lap cars. I'm not surprised.
Control.
And he then started laughing.
The lap cars have
fuck
gone.
off.
The lap cars have gone.
Lap cars have been allowed to overtake, Robbie.
Okay.
It is Lewis, Max, one lap shootout.
Oh, my God. And I wouldn't mind if they were on fresh tyres together. I wouldn't mind. Look, Toto's furious.
Don't look happy. He looks fuming at that.
Oh, boy.
He's fuming.
Safety car's ending, Robbie. So now it's Max versus Lewis. One lap shootout. Max on the fresh, soft tyre. Lewis on a worn-out, hard tyre.
Oh.
Honestly and truly now, this is very much advantage Max Verstappen for World Championship #1. And look, he's actually looks like he's overtaking Lewis. Lewis backing Max right off.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is crazy. I don't think this is going to be a... This is going to be an unsatisfactory...
Come on, Lewis, let's go, baby! Let's go, Lewis. He's restarted nicely, but Max right on his tail. He is not going to give this up. No DRS, Robbie. This is a one-lap shootout starting from now. I'd give anything to be in that crowd right now with these people, Robbie. Here it is. One man is going to be crowned world champion at the end of this fucking lap. They are going to get wheel to wheel. I'm sure of it. Max has got extra grip and extra speed because of those fresh soft tires. Lewis Hamilton has just got to hold on.
He's coming back now.
Crash. Cut back.
And Max Verstappen has passed him.
He's got him.
Max Verstappen has passed him. He's in the lead. And he's going to win this.
That's it. That is all she wrote. That is all she wrote. Surely that's got to be it.
Come on, Lewis.
Lewis Hamilton trying to come back at him, but surely...
slipstream, but Max is hold the inside line.
Yeah, Max Verstappen's going to win this. He's passed him.
Oh, man.
This is amazing. This is amazing. And
come on, Lewis, now. Slipstream it. Slipstream, Lewis.
He's got it.
Make the move. On him. Make the move.
My side, but no, he can't get past him.
I think there was a touch there.
Oh, my God. Max is doing it. He's pulling
amazing, but Max Verstappen looks like he's going to win this race. He's gone now.
I think there was a touch there. Front wheels there. I think there was a touch. And that's why Lewis has dropped off even more.
On the last lap, guys.
This is crazy. It has all gone Max Verstappen's way with every incident that's happened in the race. It's going to be a bit like an unsatisfactory end to me. But Max Verstappen wins the race. He is the champion. He is the champion. Max Verstappen, a one-race shootout, has won it. The strategy worked, bringing him in, and he has won it. All of the cars had to get out of his way. They changed their mind on it, and Max Verstappen has won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He is the champion. This is amazing. How this has turned out, I don't know, guys. It seems a bit, after watching this race all the way through, it seems a bit unsatisfactory, but credit to Max Verstappen for winning it. He is the champion.
Congrats to Max. I think I'll have to take some words from Matt here because he's a bit distraught, Robbie. But yeah, well done to Matt. You know, look, there's going to be a lot to talk about coming out of this race. Isn't there? There's going to be a lot to talk about with the FIA's rulings on a few things, pit strategies, tyre strategies. There is a lot to dive into after this. But end of the day, it's come down to the final race, and Max has got it done. 2021 World Championship.
You've got to look into, you know what, congratulations goes out to Max. It don't seem right, this.
Robbie.
It doesn't seem right. I don't know. It's a bit of a, but well done to Max Verstappen.
10 seconds ahead, Lewis Hamilton, with 3 laps to go. A pointless fucking battle between Lahoufi and Schumacher, who are in last place, causing a safety car, causing more carnage. And once again, Lewis Hamilton is losing out because of, I mean, safety car, Red Bull being quicker at pit stop, which ultimately is credit to them. I need time to process it, I think, to be sensible with what I'm saying.
Crazy.
But let me just say this. Max Verstappen, incredible drive all season long. He is the reason why Formula One this year has been such a great watch, together with Lewis Hamilton. He's been absolutely incredible. He's been dirty at times. He's been, for the Lewis fans, a pantomime villain that we've wanted to boo and we've wanted to hate. And, you know, Lewis has been that for Max fans as well this year. He's
Martin
champion.
Brundle, by the way, he said that there's going to be acrimony after this to release lap cars from and bring in the safety car for 1 lap remaining. He said, "Wow, it seems incredible." I'm very, you know,
Robbie. I think
it's two guys have been battling it out all season. It doesn't seem right the way this has ended to me.
No, and I think the word for me is unprecedented, you know, like we're talking now, a safety car incident that, you know, in a previous time, I think the safety car would have maybe continued for all of those laps, but they were desperate to get the race back on. They got the race back on and then decided to leave the lap cars where they were. And Max, again, has managed to gain 2 free pit stops out of this race because of that. I would feel like there was an injustice there if I was Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff.
I don't think anybody would have, apart from the Red Bull, would have complained if they would have left the lap cars. It doesn't seem strange. Anyway, Verstappen's out of his car. He's on his knees. He's obviously very emotional. He looks like he's crying there. He's very, very emotional. It's been a long season for him. He's won. He's won the Grand Prix. No sign of Lewis Hamilton yet, but he's lapping up the moment now.
You got to think about it from Max's point of view, that all of this, regardless of what's happened,
Lewis Hamilton's just sat in his car. He can't believe it.
Yeah, gutting for him. But yeah, the FIA have made all these decisions. The teams have made these decisions. Max has actually done what he's had to do, hasn't he? He's driven the car. And he's won it, isn't he? And it's, you know, you can start looking into and diving into problems with Red Bull and Mercedes and tires, etc., etc. Fair play to Max, young guy, in a good car, great driver. His dad there, Jos, only got 17 points in his whole career. Max has just won a world championship. So, nice moment for Max and his dad there, really.
We needed a bit of luck and we got it, says Christian Horner. I think he got a lot of luck there. Right throughout the race. It's unbelievable. It was like it was written. There's a lot of people, I have to say, in the chat, they're not happy. They're calling it a disgrace.
I just think, you know something, Robbie, I think as a set of fans, what we needed, you know, you talk about writing a script, what we needed for the end of this season, regardless of the winner, was the business to be done on track, for it not to be controversial, and for ultimately the FIA not to be at fault, you know, for them. People have blamed the FIA all year. You Lewis fans, you're not happy. Max fans are not happy. What we've had here is a decision where the FIA ultimately have handed a victory to somebody who had the fresh tire behind. They knew that the lap cars would make all the difference. And with 1 lap to go, they've allowed Max Verstappen to come
listen,
through and do that.
What I'd say is, if you're a neutral person watching F1, and everybody's been really infused about this season and saying how it's got neutral people into it and it's been exciting and it's been brilliant, which it has been. But a neutral person, a bit like cricket, we used the analogy of cricket earlier. And we can, you know, like when you see a neutral person and they're watching cricket and it ends in a draw after 5 days.
Yeah.
And they go, what's just gone on here?
Yeah.
That's how you're kind of viewing. It's a bit like how you're viewing this now. You're saying, what just happened there?
Yeah, it's all a bit. It's all a bit fresh.
Ridiculous.
It's all a bit fresh. It's all a bit confusing. There's a lot of things up in the air for us to look at and even digest, isn't there, at the moment? And it's it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Let's be honest. I say, from a neutral point of view, you know, we're unbiased over here on the off circuit and Don Robbie, so we're unbiased, aren't we? But it's a bit of a stinker.
Lewis Hamilton looks absolutely gutted. He hasn't taken his helmet off yet. He's obviously very annoyed by what's gone on.
Are we going to get an interview with him?
Yeah, we'll get an interview from all of them, yeah.
You think? You think he'll just go, no, I'm not doing it?
No, I think he'll do the interview, and I think he'll use that as an opportunity to explain that he's not particularly happy.
This guy here, Pulp, says, he goes, I'm not even a Lewis fan, but they literally just chose the winner of the championship.
Yeah. Good way of describing it, to be fair, haven't they? They've just... but then, you know, team responsibilities. Should Mercedes have got him in? You know,
Could Mercedes? Joseph says appeal for the lap cars incident for the safety car. It's going to be a bit late now. I'll never watch F1 again, says Luke Huggan. He goes, the absolute joke. He's not happy.
Let's not get too heated. If you feel like it's a loss or whatever, you know, there's more seasons and, you know, it's all about entertainment first and foremost. And this season has provided entertainment. There's been highs and lows for both sets of fans. There's been moments where it didn't look possible for Lewis Hamilton. And likewise, you know, even in this race here, it didn't look possible for Max Verstappen. I have to say, when it comes to an appeal, Mercedes haven't unfortunately got a leg to stand on. You know, typically lap cars are always allowed to unlap themselves. There was maybe an expectation that because of the circumstance, they wouldn't allow it to allow, you know, Lewis to protect the lead a little bit. But I think
how gutting must that be, though? You've been in the lead literally from the start of the race. Yeah, and then on the last, there's a crash.
And we talk, you know, we talk about, you know, consequences of actions and stuff. Again, I just bring it back to that utterly pointless battle between a Haas and a Williams, the two dog shittest cars on the grid, going wheel to wheel, racing for no points, for no nothing. They've both got seats secured, and they've literally decided the championship because of what happened in that little battle there. I think for me, that's where I think my anger's more towards Latifi and what he's done rather than the FIA.
FIA apparently, Mercedes saying that the FIA not allowed to rule properly, did not do the rule properly because only 5 unlapped cars. It should have been, not all of them.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's news to me. Usually it just says unlapped cars can unlap themselves and away they go.
Right.
Wow. Massive from... for the Max fans right now who have believed all year, and I think they would admit, you know, I'll check in with
happy now.
He will be, and he's asked me because it's a family day. We can't get to him today. We're gonna check in with him tomorrow, and you know something. I think even Kuhn would admit now at this point that there wasn't a belief all season long that Max would definitely win. They were really hopeful that he would, and now that it's happened, wow, what a relief that is for the Max fans.
Yeah. Also, how good is this for the sport moving forward? And the interesting, we've got a lot of people in the chat today,
Terrific.
Robbie, talking about, I'm new to F1 this year. I've come in this year because of what you guys are doing. This is only better for next year. The build for next year starts now, doesn't it? With Max versus Lewis again. This is awesome for next year and beyond for this sport.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton just congratulated Max Verstappen, so that's great to see. You know, obviously he'll have things to say afterwards, but he did just go and congratulate him. I'm a blue Dabba says, stop with the bias. Max has won more races than Lewis this season. I don't know. You know what? It's the rules, right? So the guys can only follow the rules. And if it had been the other way around, it would have went the other way. But don't these rules need to be looked at, guys? I mean, even in the last race, I was like, all this stuff about,
the red flag. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you can go in and change your tires, and that don't seem right to me.
I think, listen,
what is this? I mean, you can't have a guy, he's a mile in front, and basically other people having accidents, they then bring everybody back into play. It doesn't seem...
Yeah, I think there's an injustice that's going to be felt by Lewis fans. I think, you know, Blue Dabadida is right with that. You know, Max has won 10 races, Lewis has won 8. Max has got 10 poles, Lewis has got 5. You know, just looking at that alone, we said at the start of this, you know, neither of these guys don't not deserve it, if you know what I mean. Both. Max deserves to be world champion this year. Lewis Hamilton deserves to be world champion this year.
Well, he's got 9. He's got 9, but I'm saying that 9th one's a bit unsatisfactory to me.
It's 10. I think including today, it's 10 on race wins.
Yeah, but I'm saying today's one, right?
Yeah, right.
10. It seems a bit unsatisfactory. We've just watched this whole race and how that's ended for me personally, even though obviously I wanted Lewis to win, but you know, I wanted to see a great race. It just seems unsatisfactory.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think right up until that moment we were seeing a great race.
Sorry, Matt. You got all these people saying robbery, and you don't want that. You just want the race to finish and just say, congratulations, Max, congratulations, Lewis, whoever got it.
Yeah, because as we say, we thought there was going to be this dogfight in the last couple of laps where Max could have been right up there. And if Max overtakes him or Lewis defends and you go after 21 races prior to this, then there is a deserved winner. And I think there's a bitter taste in the mouth, I think, at the end of this race for everyone, really. Not just Lewis fans, but I think, you know, for everyone, Formula One fans, I think we've been robbed of an excellent last few laps there. I think to bring it back.
Yeah, and I think like what we started this by saying is we didn't want the championship to be decided based off of a pit stop or a FIA ruling. We wanted it to be an on-track, overtake, on-track action. And there is a little bit of a feeling of, you know what, it's been pit stops, it's been FIA, that's been what's decided it. Lewis there is just being consoled by his dad on screen. Massive part of the reason why Lewis Hamilton's here racing
well
today.
done to Lewis, because he did, despite the fact that he'd be really, really angry, he did go over and congratulate Max Verstappen, and that was really nice to see. I mean, he'd be really disappointed, he'd be feeling really hard done by, but he still went over there, and that's the class of the guy. I'd love to see that.
I was just saying, like a bit of class, and actually, at the end of the day, that's not really Max's fault. What's happened, is it? We talked about all these things that have happened. Max hasn't had any control over what the FIA have done. He's gone and won the race, and props to Lewis and respect there. He's done the right thing there, hasn't he? And it shows what type of guy he is. Yeah.
Fair play to Max. Side note, Bottas has been a terrible teammate. Can't wait for Russell to join Nick. Bottas. Oh my God.
We're about to get Lewis's interview here, Robbie. It does look to be wiping a tear away from his eye.
Tears in his eyes. He's got tears in his eyes, definitely. I mean, who wouldn't losing it that way?
Something is one thing you have to say, with the Verstappen fans. Even when we were racing in the Netherlands, in Zandvoort this year, there was a round of applause for Lewis. And just now, right there, as the camera panned across, orange shirts around that track, applauding Lewis Hamilton for the incredible work they've done.
You see there, Lewis Hamilton's dad congratulating Max Verstappen and his dad, even though his dad had some horrible words to say about Lewis.
Yeah, he did as well. There was a bit of nastiness there, but do you know something? I think now Lewis needs to take the winter. He has signed another 2-year deal. He's often been accused of being the guy who's only won because he's in the best car. Well, listen, next year when the racing is a lot closer, Lewis is again going to be hungry, looking for that 8th world title. It just goes on to another year. Max Verstappen's upset it just like Rosberg did in 2016. Incredible season.
Yeah, Rohit says both sides react exactly how the other side would have had it happen the other way. Ultimately, They decided they would rather have a final lap than not. I think that, you know what? He makes a great point there. I think that the FIA said to themselves, no, we can't make it end under a safety car. Yeah. Let's just have some sort of...
Just to play devil's advocate there, and I fully agree with his comment, absolutely spot on, and particularly when he's saying both sides, they kind of mirror each other when scenarios happen. I think that if it had have ended under safety car, would we have said that's unfair when Lewis Hamilton had a 12-second lead with 5 laps to go, on Max? I think you look and go, well, no, he's 12 seconds ahead. What were you thinking was going to happen? You were going to do 2 or 3 seconds a lap faster? No chance. He didn't have that pace. So I think the injustice comes in that Lewis had that moment. But listen, crashes happen. This is motorsport. I'm angry that Lahoufi did bin it where he did, and he is the man responsible. I can't wait for the first interview.
It's a Mercedes engine.
It is. Yeah, and I can't wait for his first interview. That the press will certainly get hold of him.
Oh, gosh. YouTube says, I'm done with F1. Lewis, please leave and give these nasty people their sport back. They showed beyond measure that they didn't want you to have another.
Oh, that's dramatic. I think Max fans feel like the FIA have backed Lewis in a lot of decisions this year. It hasn't gone our way if you're a Lewis fan, but just look at that. Incredible scenes. It's a big moment. We've seen only Mercedes drivers win since 2014. Rosberg and Lewis swapping titles. And truthfully, in that time, nobody's even made it to the summer break with a real chance of being world champion. And this year, Max has pushed Lewis all the way and has finished this season as world champion because of it.
Here's my problem with this thing now, right? So it comes down to, this is where I don't know, I'm not blaming, you don't blame Verstappen or Red Bull, you don't blame any of the teams, right? I've got to look at the actual whole Formula One now. How can it come down to a last shootout and you got one guy's been able to go in and change onto different tires? This obviously gives him a mega advantage.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you,
at least say to both of them, right? Both of you go in, change, shoot out last lap.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, Robbie, in the cold light of day tomorrow, Mercedes, Toto Wolff and his team need to take a long, hard look at themselves with how they manage this race today. In that not only once, but twice, Max Verstappen was able to come into the pits, change for fresh tyres and come out. And that's the reason why he had such an advantage at the end. So, they can't just play the victim here. They chose to leave Lewis Hamilton out on that hard tyre twice over, giving Max Verstappen that advantage. And
but the first one that they've done is they made the right decision. But what I'm saying is, I'm on about the second one now that's under the safety car.
Yeah.
Right? Why can't everybody just come in and change on if it's going to be a one-lap shootout right at the end of the race? Why not just say to everybody, right, you guys change, you all just be on the same.
So they can do that. They were all able to do it. Mercedes decided not to do. The scenario you're talking about is if they red flagged, they would bring everyone in the pit. They could then all change, and then they would line back up on the start line for a one-lap shootout with a standing start. They could have decided to do that. However, I think the FIA probably felt, something, this wouldn't warrant a red flag. This is a safety car incident. We have to judge this like it's not the last race of the season and do that. And that's maybe credit to the FIA that they only manage this like they would any other race. I'm trying not to go too down the hole of salty Lewis fan. Can you tell?
No, it's not. I'm trying not to be. It's not a matter of salty. I'm trying to look at it now from a neutral person who's just trying to get on board with F1 now, right?
Yeah,
and they've seen the end of that race, and they're like, "Well, hold on, it didn't seem fair." Right? So
that's the trials and tribulations.
It's not a problem with Max Verstappen. It's not a problem with Lewis Hamilton or Mercedes or Red Bull. It's a problem with the rules of the sport. It seemed a bit weird.
I think that isn't that an argument for that. Isn't that the trials and tribulations of professional sport anyway? It's done in big decisions have to be made, and I am with you, Robbie, but I'm trying to look at the other side of it and going, it would just be unfair.
It's a bit like in football saying. It's a bit like in football saying, right, you're going to play extra time, but one team can have 11 and the other one can have 10.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it's I think it's just, but then this is why people like Toto Wolff and his team are getting paid what they're getting paid to make these decisions. And actually, they had an opportunity to be able to rectify what had happened, and with that second chance to get him in for tires. And as Matt said, I think Toto and the team needs a bit of a looking at in the fresh light of day tomorrow. And you could argue that they've lost Lewis that 8th world title through some poor strategy management.
And isn't it ironic that last week, the thing that was losing Lewis out until it all played out, but the thing that was screwing Lewis over was Mercedes diving into the pit lane and doing what Max did today, and then the red flag came out and Max gained. So, if we just want to call it at best luck and fortune, Lady Luck has very much been on the side of Max Verstappen. And I made this comment earlier, Robbie, and I think now I've made up my mind. God is definitely Dutch.
He is today. It's all falling into Max Verstappen's hands today. Despite Hamilton, he did everything. He got off to that unbelievable start. He got in front. He did everything. Like he said in his afterwards, he goes, "We did everything." And I think he's just got to accept it. This is one of those days where no matter what, it just ain't your day.
Yeah, totally. I like this comment. This is from Jem. He's an off-circuiter all the way over in Australia. He's just made a comment saying, anytime someone pushes Lewis, he loses. Rosberg pushed him, and now Max. I don't know if it's fair, this idea that I think Lewis has been pushed every single season that he's been out there, and he's shown that still he can rise and conquer. But Max has pushed him all the way, and he has prevailed out on top in what has been the most extraordinary season we have seen in decades. Take nothing away from Max's performance. He has been awesome this year.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of the stream, and I want to say congratulations going out to Max Verstappen. He is the world champion. Absolutely. Whether we thought about today's race and how it's ended, all season he's been awesome and he deserves it. Congratulations. Also, as Original T says, credit to Honda. That engine and the reliability of that Red Bull car has been absolutely exceptional this year.
And it's actually Honda's final race in Formula One. Red Bull will build their own engines next year. So what a way for Honda to end, to be crowned world champions of the Drivers' Championship. But as I understand it, Mercedes
won the Constructors. Yeah, they won the Constructors.
Robbie, we have to let people know Robbie's going to join us after this race on off circuit. And we thought, because it's the final slightly differently, we're going to go live, aren't we, Robbie, and do the full podcast live for people to join us. So you can find us on Off Circuit F1. I think the link will be in the description somewhere.
All right. I'm a blue Davide. Come back onto the Off Circuit thing. I'll answer that for you, right? I'm not salty at all. I'll be honest with you. I just wanted to see a great race today. Love Lewis Hamilton. Listen, he's won it. He's won it 7 times.
Totally.
It's great that somebody else now takes on the mantle. And then he sets it up perfectly for next season. It's going to be what an extraordinary season we've had. Both drivers have pushed each other, and both teams have pushed each other all the way. But Max Verstappen is the champion. Ed, thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Matt. Robbie.
I'll see you guys over on Off Circuit very shortly, guys. Get over onto there. And also, once again, thank you to Manscaped. Don't forget to click the link in the description. You want to get yourself a Christmas present. Use the code DonRobbie and you can get 20% off. Thank you very much. And well done, Max Verstappen.
Come on.
Cheers, guys.